Welcome on in, everyone, to the Aegis Challenger League. So glad to have you all. My name is CLE here with first-time cast for Set 8. Dot, yeah. Welcome on in.
Thank you, Celia. It's good to be here. I'm glad to get started and continue casting here. There, I've been looking forward to this day. I haven't been able to cast a couple weeks, and I'm excited to share some knowledge with everyone if I can.
Absolutely, and you do have a bunch of knowledge being a member of the AML. I mean, you're a member. Yesterday didn't go too good.
Yeah, yesterday I didn't have the best week. It was other stuff was going on, and I had okay first and second game, followed up by 8-8, which was not great. Even though the casters and the community believed in me in the predictions, I failed them. Hopefully next week I can improve a bit.
I mean, you can't have them all, right? Just what it was, but. We're turning a new page. We're on the ACL now. This is the caster arc for Dot. So here we are, right? This is great time.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Absolutely. As we head into week 3 of the ACL, we have a little bit of difference from our league yesterday of the AML with how many players there are in this Challenger League. We have some cuts happening this week. So Dot, why don't you tell them about that?
Yeah, so we've got some cuts happening this week. The bottom 8 of the ACL will be cut out from week 4. So we've got Sia Nerds, who's kind of on that edge, is 4 points away from being in trouble and getting cut. Mocha, aka Just Pain Only Pain, 3 points off from being cut out. And then we have CPV Yota, who has a sub today, Moldiver Maniac, who is really in trouble of being cut this week and is actually 4 points behind that line. So, it's going to be really important for them to have really good showings to stay in contention for week 4 and then the playoffs. And then we also have, some other players, Celia, you might have seen as well, that are in contention for the top in this lobby. So a lot of movement is possible.
Yeah, huge stakes in all of these games. The top 8 getting that first round bye in the playoffs, also a huge advantage. So everyone fighting for those as well. Nick Knack being one of those people that's currently chilling in the top 8. And then Shining Star and Trade just outside of that. So as we're talking about this and looking at results from the past 2 weeks, we've got something to work off of. Let's take a look at our predictions for week 3 of the ACL. And we do see that the casters and community tied at 26 points. Lawrence made a big comeback, now at 22 points and staff at 23.
Yeah, Lawrence has really picked it up these past couple weeks. I mean, the first week was not great for him, but he's coming back, and it's interesting to look here. We got Pie Hat in pretty much everyone's top 4, Trade in almost everyone's except Lawrence. Mocha finding his way into the top 2 of casters. That's very interesting. In fact, no one else except Lawrence has him at 4th. And then Nick Knack, of course, everyone expects him to do pretty well today, seeing as he's top 4 in the entire ACL right now. So I'm excited to see how well these predictions actually go.
Absolutely. And Pie Hat being the only one that's in all 4 of these predictions. No, Trade is not. Lawrence didn't pick Trade. So Pie Hat being a community member, being just huge for especially the LATAM community. Also a really good challenger player in LATAM. So excited to see where we're going to go today and excited to jump into our games here shortly.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Pie Hat is actually not a pie with a hat, as Lawrence found out recently. I know. But one thing that we know about Pie Hat so far, and he's told us this specifically, is he likes to play on broadcast. And we saw that week 1 on broadcast. He went first. And I assume, we are taking that into account and kind of thinking this might happen again. He likes playing in front of a crowd, and we're giving him a crowd to play in front of.
Absolutely. And this is the new patch. This is the C patch. And if anybody has $1 million and wants to buy the code, they can go ahead and do that for Riot Games. But that is why we have a C patch today. It's a little bit volatile. There's not as many changes. Some of the tool tips are wrong. So new patch for all of these players going into this week.
Yeah, new patch, and a lot has changed, but a lot hasn't as well. We've gotten some more reroll lines that are applicable and can be played. Like Yumi is back just a little bit. I played Ashe yesterday, winning. It's fine, but it's still playable. And then we have the same old. We have Renegades who got a slight nerf, but one thing I wanted to touch on about Renegades is Viego got the nerf from 18% drop-off rate on his ult to 20%. And the issue with nerfing Viego, and something they've talked about before, is that he is a very thresholdy champion. If he is getting that kill, it doesn't matter what the drop-off rate is because he's resetting. And 20% clearly, I think, wasn't enough to actually do that.
Right.
So he is definitely the number one thing that people are playing in the meta. Otherwise, I'm pretty excited to see some other lines, like the AP lines. That's kind of my favorite way of playing the game. And there's a lot of flex there. So I'm intrigued.
There's a lot of flex in the AP line between, 4 different carries, LeBlanc, Zoe, Soraka, Asol, all being very viable.
Yeah, and if you hit Power Grid, you can even play Sona. There's just so many things you can do with the AP line, except it is very, very important to get tiers, and they are limited, and everyone wants them on that first carousel. So it's going to be, 2 or 3 people contesting those lines, and it's just a matter of who hits in that respect.
Absolutely. And as we are loading into our game now, what is the ideal starting item for Dot right now?
The ideal starting item, like I said, is tier. I think it is so flexible. You have the AP lines, like you said, the Soraka, the Zoe, the Sona, the LeBlanc. And you can kind of play reroll there or just go like 8 and play a standard board. The other option with tier that I really like is it has a good amount of tank items. Redemption's pretty good, especially against AP. You have Protector's Vow, which is very good. And then you have Shiv. And Shiv is an interesting item because it's so flexible in this meta with Laser Core and as well as the other AP Flex. So.
Yeah, flexes into some of those AD trees. The Protector's Vow being also good in those AD trees, the Shattuck Shiv being good in those AD trees, Hodge being okay in those AD trees as well. And there's just a lot of units you can splash in for AP. So Aurelian Soul being one of those units, you just be like, I'm going to throw this into my duelist board because it can hold my AP items. So there's plenty of flexibility that comes with tier.
Yeah, and there's one component I forgot to mention. Shout out to one of our players, actually, a guide that I think he posted on Reddit. Not this one, but he has posted other guides. The Q Cone. So the Chalice of Power is so good in the Talon not Talon reroll, but the Talon like upwards Viego comp, the vertical. And when you're not rerolling Talon, his best 3 items are 3 Q-Cones to help buff the Viego. And, it can be a slam. It most of the time will just be like an extra thing you can put in to that comp.
Yeah, absolutely. It just helps get those resets going, get those one-shots off. And so Viego can scale infinite. But what about those AD trees? What do you expect to see today?
I'm expecting a lot of Laser Core. I would still consider that an AD tree. You're still building like Ginsus if you want to, stuff like that to get more attacks off. And then other than that, I'm expecting a lot of threats as well. I think Belveth is very strong. And we've seen a lot of challenger players. I've seen Keens play it a lot on his stream. As well as Aphelios being, I think, right now the best unit in the game.
Yeah.
And I think getting to that Aphelios late game, you want to have like Rageblade and IE and stuff like that. So I think those are some of the more potent AD lines.
And it feels really good to kind of have that Jeff Bezos comp that we haven't had really all set, with Aphelios being that high cost carry, that 5 cost carry that you can go to. That's not really one of these threats, right? Something that you can build traits around, build, synergies to power them up as much as possible.
Yeah. I like the Jeff Bezos, the Bill Gates comp in general. I think Fast 9 is a fun meta. I don't think right now we're able to do Fast 9 because of how much people kind of hit each other in the mid game when they're spiking on like the Talon boards and stuff. But you can take that and like just pivot into the like crazy all 5 cost board basically.
Yeah, and those boards are so powerful if you can go level 8 and just hit, or if you can go level 9 and absolutely cap out. Really looking forward to seeing if any of our players here today can get to those points, get those super high capped boards that just blow our minds and just absolutely dominate fights. But just really hoping for some good comebacks from our players that are just at the lower level of the standings, just hoping to see if they can push their way up into playoffs, getting them, 8 players are going to leave us this week, right? Regardless. And we're just hoping it's not going to be any of these players. And as we head into our first carousel, on board with crowd favorite Pie Hat.
Yeah, I'm looking to see what he's going for. It looks like he went for a rod. I think that is a very flex item as well. It's probably the second best for me. You have like Spark, JG, and a bunch of other things you can kind of go and flex with through it. So I would expect him already to be like kind of thinking he wants to play Talon because that's like the traditional Talon opener.
Yeah, the traditional Talon opener. It is a good one. You can play many different things. I think Rod's a good duelist start as well, able to get those lockets to really just power up that front line. Gold is always helpful to buy stuff in the early game, so I'm sure he's not upset about that.
Yeah, I kind of always like a bit of extra gold in the first one. I think having 3 components is less valuable at 2-1 than 2 is, just because you can make one item if you want to. Sometimes it's less flexible because you don't get those items, but like you said, he's got a couple duelists in here, and he's not really committed to anything just yet. Of course, it's only 1-3, and you don't really have to be.
I'm gonna be straight up with you. Watching Pie Hat stream is probably my favorite thing. He's just so emotive with his face, with his movements, especially when something goes terribly wrong or terribly good. So I'm quite excited to follow along with him in our 2 games today.
Yeah, I know. I have not gotten to see him too much on camera, but it's really exciting watching him play. He seems like a very emotive guy, and he seems like a fun person to watch. So exciting.
Absolutely. And I do want to call out about this whole lobby that this guy, Knickknack, is our lobby leader, is currently in fourth in all of the ACL, has 50 points already. If you're looking for the doc that shows all of these leaderboards, that shows these lobbies, it'll probably be in chat, right, Lawrence?
Should be in
Right.
chat. He'll put it there, and we see on 2-1 a hero augment. So there's a few good options here for Knickknack, and he takes Spirit of the Exile, an augment with, I believe, a 3.9 or a 4.0 win rate. Very solid.
Yeah, very solid as we now slide over to Shining Stars to see what he is going to take as well. Raiders Spoils looking like an okay option. Vitality of the Ox is also a pretty good option. He has some flexible, probably AD items, but will end up going for this. Able to hit a bunch of 2-stars as well in this shop.
And he actually finds Underground here, so he might look to put it in. And that's a very solid opener for Shining Star. He might look to win streak with it even.
Yeah, might look to win streak. Raider Spoils also being a very powerful item or very powerful augment, giving that extra Ornn item onto your board. Also able to slam a very powerful item that is that anti-heal frontline item of the Sunfire Cape. And so this will be a really good start, probably playing win streak Underground.
Probably playing win streak, but he happens to be fighting someone else with Raider Spoils. It doesn't look like the other player could win. He didn't level to 4, and is just going to take a win here, probably buy this Wukong and look to play anything he wants. I think this line with Ezreal traditionally goes into like Kai'Sa and Vayne. I think Kai'Sa and Vayne are not that great right now. In meta read, I got to talk to a player, I get to talk to pretty often, Keens, and he was kind of thinking Kai'Sa is hot trash, actually. And I'm trying to figure out exactly whether or not that's true. My game yesterday, I thought I had high rolled a lot of Kai'Sas, and unfortunately I hadn't. And I did poorly. And so he gets Recon in here. He's looking like it's a fantastic opener for Shining Star.
Just going back a little bit to that Recon Kai'Sa point, I had perfect item Kai'Sa 2 at like 3-2, and I went 8th. So in a trade sector, I hit all of these things 2-star, and I just lost out. I just never won around. I don't know. It's got to be trash, right?
Yeah, I think it's not as good as it was last patch. I'm not sure exactly what they changed in it, but I think a lot of other things got stronger. The reroll got a bit better. And the issue with Kai'Sa Vayne is even if it's good, it is something that a lot of Vayne gets played in a few comps, and Kai'Sa doesn't get played in too many, but it's kind of just hard to hit those 3-cost rerolls in general, and if it's ever contested, it goes pretty poorly.
Absolutely. We slide over to Trade or other Raiders Spoils board. Trade being one of the NA representatives in Defender Cup, did make it to day 3. I believe he finished rank 39 in Defender Cup, which is really good.
Yeah, he finished rank 39. It's we're all very proud of our ACL representatives at Defender Cup, and we're kind of looking forward to what they're going to do. A lot of them are going to make Corrupted Cup, hopefully, and I'm excited to see what they can do there after ACL.
Yeah, we have a ton of really good players within the ACL competing in NA, but also competing in a lot of the EU Cups. We had many players play in the Open Qualifier this weekend for the Golden Spatula Cup. Many players already qualifying. Zazu being somebody who won a Open Qualifier, I believe, is the rest of EMEA tournament. And so he qualified for the Golden Spatula Cup already. So looking forward to seeing people like Scipius and Arrow possibly play in those tournaments as well as Zazu.
Yeah, I think we have the potential for a lot of those players to play in some really big events in this next year for Set 8 and Set 8.5. And players who have remarkably improved, I would say, over the past year. I think, we talk about a lot of the people who are all the way at the top. And we're not talking about people like kind of going from the bottom of the pack of the ACL even to the top, and it's a very large improvement that I feel like we've seen this past set. A lot of people in NA, I feel like, are just playing the game a lot more, and I think that speaks to how good this set is, actually.
Sure, yeah, and I fully agree with you. This set is just so competitive, and everyone loves playing, and it's so fun to see. on board now with Just Pain, Oli Payne, also known as Mocha. If you are in Water Park Tactics, that is his creation. So he is a coach there. He's a player, but he's currently in pretty big danger. He is 3 points off the bottom 8. He's sitting comfortably there. Really just needs to perform today to keep his placements up. Clearly looking at a renegade line here with those items slammed and the units on the board. So hoping to pull a top 4 here for Just Pain, Only Pain.
Yeah, he's looking to pull a top 4. He's got a great augment. Slam Shiv, which is not optimal, but it's a fine slam because you're trying to kill that tier. Unfortunately, with that, you probably can't get like Titans. Also, Bloodthirster is still good, but again, he's just trying to play for what looks like, preserving a lot of HP in the early game and finding as many Viegos, going 8 as fast as possible, probably here. And I'm not sure that is the Camille support augment, so he's not looking to reroll at all either.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head what that augment does. Do you know?
Yeah. So every time an ally dies, I believe it starts off, your whole team does, I think, like 15% more damage, and then every time an ally dies, that increases by 5%, I believe.
Oh yes, you are absolutely correct. It's 10% at first, and then 5% whenever an ally dies. You're absolutely correct.
Okay.
Look at you. This is why I bring you in here. You're just a knower.
I study this game a lot. I play it a lot, but unfortunately, the results don't always show that.
It's just a Mort Dog diff, no?
Yeah, no. I mean, I blame Mort Dog for most things in my life, honestly.
Yeah, you can blame Mort Dog. You can blame Lawrence just for anything, right? Like, I got in a car accident. That's a Mort Dog diff. I don't know. Stuff like that can happen. I just stubbed my toe. It's Lawrence's fault. All these things.
Yeah, I stubbed my toe.
Listen,
yep. Well, so we see Mocha.
Oh my gosh! What the world?
I'm in shock.
Finding Diego on 5. This is not fair to the rest of the lobby at all.
Someone's got to ping it. Certainly someone will see it and start pinging it. I hope. This is that part of the lobby where everyone goes and just sits on someone's board and looks at it.
Yeah, if you're listening and you're playing in this game, go look at Mocha's board. Go do it. Just Pain, Only Pain. He's got a Viego on 5.
Well, he's still looking for some good items for it. That tier is pretty rough. Glove also not the best. He could slam Hodge though.
Oh, yeah. None of these items are very good. I imagine that'll just turn into a TG because it's just flexible items. Or he's hoping for Renegade Emblem to possibly go 6 Renegade. That would be an excellent spot from where he is currently. But yeah, man, he's gonna reforge that tier. Turns into a sword, which is a solid okay. Yeah, he's gonna make an IE to put on there so that spell will crit.
Interesting items for Viego. It's a little suboptimal, but like we said earlier, he's just looking to slam and play strongest board so he can actually just get upgraded units. Because in the end, like the items just buff the upgraded unit. And anything you can put on that Viego, it'll still crit, IE or JG. You're just losing a bit of the stats from the rod. And then you're also, by slamming BT, you lose a little value because I think Gunblade is just such a strong item in this meta. Overall, like every unit can use Gunblade, right. And it's just so much basically effective HP for your whole team.
Yeah, and it's easily one of the most flexible items because almost every champion can use it. Any champion that does damage will also heal themselves and their team. So it's extremely, extremely helpful. We are on board now with Piehat, who is on a 6 loss streak, getting tons of econ, but we're going into our next augment choice, which will be a gold augment choice, having some of these things that will really try to swing the lobby a little bit to give some power to some people having obvious choices that they're locking early, like a Jeweled Lotus, but really looking forward to seeing what Piehat goes with here with this AP board.
I wonder if it's ever Triforce. He's going to be playing the LeBlanc. He already has a Sona too. It's okay, so it's Trade Sector, and that's a very strong thing at 3-2 because a lot of people are rolling on 7. Trade Sector is a little bit stronger at 3-2 because you don't really need the early rolls as much as it is important to get those like free shops on 7.
Yeah, and with this gold augment choice coming in, that does mean we will not see a silver augment this game. We have an 80% chance of seeing another gold augment in our third choice and 20% of seeing a prismatic. So looking forward to getting more of these augments. They're going to absolutely swing the game. Pie Hat being really upset that he just got Raiders spoils pulled.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. The best thing he probably could have done there is put Blitz in the corner. But even if he swapped Sona and LeBlanc, I think he loses if he doesn't have that Sona 2 in. But unfortunately, his 2-item LeBlanc died very quickly.
Yeah, dies very quickly. We do have two people at the top of the lobby who, one is at 100 HP, still streaking, getting that extra win streak gold, and one of those at 92 HP, also streaking. But this Pie Hat guy is maybe low in HP, but he's not low in gold. I can tell you that as we hop on board with Shining Star, who is our win streak player, who just has a Zed on 6. It's fine.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember, was Shining Star at the start the one with Raider Spoils who actually played underground early?
I believe. No, that was Knick-Knack, I think.
Oh, was it? It was Knick-Knack. Okay. No, because because Knick-Knack, I believe, had Spirit of the Exile, right?
I don't know. We'll have to check on it. We'll have to check on that
because I'm thinking if Shining Star got a cash out and actually got that item, then no, I guess that item is still Raider Spoils. But if he got a little bit of extra gold, it can explain how he's been able to upgrade a lot of these units and stay effectively at good econ.
Yeah, absolutely. He's absolutely destroying fights right now. Obviously, having this early Zed in is extremely helpful. Having the best item on Zed is even more helpful. We do see Pie Hat take a win there, finally breaking that loss streak. But just want to talk a little bit about Shining Star as a player as we go through this carousel. He is nothing to look down at whatsoever. He's an Italian player, but he's been rank 1 EUNE. He's currently rank 7 EU West. He's had 1600 LP at one point, been rank 3 global. He's just nuts at this game.
He is nuts at this game, and he's shown it so far in ACL. He's only 2 points off top 8. And as we all predicted, I think most of us had him in the top 4. We expect him to do well in this lobby, and he's already showing that he will do well. Wow, what a shop.
Yeah, what a shop. Going to level 7 already on 3-5 makes sense with this board. Just wanting to win streak, now getting underground back in, which he already had 2 of. So maybe this is that board. Listen, memory and myself don't really go well together, so here we are.
Okay. Well, it looks like this board is going to continue streaking. The lobby isn't overall that strong. He has to kind of avoid clumping just a bit against that Viego player. But this might be the board that beats him, another streaker.
Yeah, this other streaker, Mocha, being on the other side with this really strong Kale, who just loves the auto attack, will not have any ramping attack speed besides Duelist in this. And this Zed is just absolutely destroying this front line. But the front line for Shining Star is already down, but Zed onto the back line. 4 backliners for Shining Star. It's not even going to be close.
Yeah, it's not very close.
That's Kranos, not Mocha. I'm sorry.
No problem. I think it was, a bit of a difference of, having a two-starred Vayne versus having a 2-starred Kale as the carry, as well as a Zed. Just the effective gold on this board is pretty nuts for level 7 with 30 gold, honestly.
Yeah, I imagine he's going to continue to win streak throughout this fight. Just Pain, only Pain is in a really good spot, finding that Viego there early, now getting another item on there as well to try to keep the health as high as possible. We do have some players that are below 40 HP already on stage 3. It's not really what you want to see, but they way rather trade spots with Shining Star. But as we head into this last fight, we do see someone playing some kind of supers reroll.
It looks like it's going to be Yumi with the comp that came out of China a couple weeks ago, or it's been actually out there for a while now, but we finally found out about it. It's the Nyla with Yumi reroll, and he's one off of Malphite, pretty close to GP, but overall pretty far off, losing a lot of health in these rounds, and just not really with a ton of gold. So we'll have to see if Moldiver can make a major comeback.
Yeah, Moldiver needs to make that major comeback. He is subbing for one of our players here today, so thankful that he's able to be here and sub in and do his best work that he can. But also knowing that Shining Star is absolutely chilling.
Yeah, Shining Star is chilling. As well as in the standings, he can make top 8, but he's chilling overall. Whereas Moldiver is subbing for Yota, who really needs the points, who is 4 points behind that cutoff line again. So really looking to maybe make a huge comeback here for himself and for Yota.
Yeah, and Trade now looking for that 7th Anima squad, which will be Misfortune, to slot in on this board to make this board so much more powerful. Has fairly good items without mana gen, though, which is absolutely crucial for these boards. And not able to find a Misfortune early whatsoever. Holding these Viegos, maybe able to use that as a carry for the meantime. Doesn't switch it yet.
Yeah, the thing about those MF items is they're actually pretty solid, honestly. Rageblade kind of acts as a mana item. The more attacks you get, the every 10, basically it's every 10 mana. And you kind of just end up I think it's part of BIS. I actually think when you have 7 anima, you kind of just need mana gen. You have so much damage, you can do damage amp as well. So like JG or GS are pretty good, as well as Guardbreaker. But really, you're just looking for those casts. And there's Jeweled Lotus. Wow.
Yeah, instantly picks that. It's just fantastic. We're now on board with Just Pain Only Pain, who hits Oxforce Crest, which is absolutely massive in this comp. Also having a spatula on bench that he could possibly make 8 Oxforce with is just so good for this comp.
Yeah, surely he's either looking for the 8 Oxforce angle or still looking for the 6 Renegade. I mean, he's pretty healthy. He has good gold. He's definitely going to be strong now that he has that Rammus 2 with Oxforce on it. And then still having this Viego 1. I think he'll try and go 8 and probably roll a ton on 4-5 to try and hit. Obviously, Viego 2 is something you want, but if he hits that Leona, I think it's just instantly he's looking for a glove.
Yeah, finds that Leona can go 6 Renegade, finds that Aphelios, he can go for that 8 Oxforce if he does so choose. I mean, 6 Oxforce is also really, really good. Oxforce Leona is the best item to put on Leona. So, he's looking really good, has plenty of options to flex around what he can get on this next carousel and to possibly complete that last spatula item.
Yeah, and it makes me almost think, when you look at this, do you think about maybe leveling on off interval and 4-3 to roll? And if you hit either of those, then you actually know what component you're going for in the long run. Because otherwise, you kind of are taking either vest or glove and like going those routes without kind of having the direction of, oh, I'm going to hit this Aphelios or this Leona. And you might end up just missing and hitting the other one. And then you're like, okay, what happened here? So maybe sometimes leveling beforehand off interval just to figure out your direction is pretty good.
Yeah, I think one of the problems with this board, though, it could be these Viego items. They're kind of just like the adjacent versions of what you actually want. He's got BT instead of Gunblade. He's got IE instead of JG. He's got this Guardbreaker instead of, I don't know, Ionic Spark. Like all of these different things that he really, would be best in slot in this Viego, just not really being there. But Moldiver Maniac has hit some of these 3 stars, has nearly perfect items on this Nyla, as well as big damage items on this Yuumi as well. I believe because he's got Salvage Bin, able to make those items that he needs, and is able to recover, though. But Sia Nerd is at 1 HP, but oh boy, will we see a Fawn pickup here for Just Pain Only Pain.
We might just see a Fawn pickup. I honestly think he might even go for the Aphelios.
I'm thinking.
He probably will just take the Fawn and move on. But Aphelios with a BF is so solid. And I wanted to actually ask you this. Those Viego items, would you ever transfer them to an Aphelios?
I would think about it, especially if you have something that's a little bit better. I think those are clearly better Aphelios items with that IE specifically. He's going to now roll down here to hopefully find Viego 2. Does find Viego 2 pretty early. Hoping for that Leona possibly to get a 6 Renegade. Needs to slam the tactician's crown. You have
Yeah,
to
he's trying
slam
to
it
put the
before you can
unit
put that
in
unit in.
beforehand.
He's so confused. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, here we are. Now able to spot in that Belveth, which is a very powerful unit, but decides to go sure shot instead.
Yeah, do we know what his admin is? It seems like he is pretty set on playing it. Soraka's a good holder of the Shiv, so it's fine. But it's just interesting that he's actually keeping it. It might be the on kill give AP or on kill give healing, which is really, really strong in these Renegade comps.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He hovered it earlier, but I didn't have time to read it, so wasn't able to find out exactly what it is. But this Viego 2 could make the big difference. Will get that last cast off to do a ton of damage. Pi-Hat, though, is very, very close to hitting all these 3-stars as we transition over to that board. One off Annie, one off LeBlanc 3 as well. Now selling these units to try and find exactly what he needs. Rolling down one more for the boys. Maybe one more. No, he's not going to sell that Echo. It's not looking too good. He really needs to hit.
It's not looking great, but I think 16 HP is probably he gets one more life after on stage 4. He might be able to kill a couple units, and then he has a chance to roll a bit more while he's fighting Trade here, who has an extremely strong board.
Yeah, now hit that 7th Anima Squad unit, able to put all of these items on a Misfortune 2 that he did find. Also, that Jewel Lotus is the last pickup, is going to make this Misfortune do massive damage, but not firing towards the backline of Pi-Hat. So this LeBlanc will still cast more and Trade now down to single digit HP.
Yeah, Trade down to single digit HP, and Pi-Hat's got a chance here. If he can hit these 3-stars, hitting LeBlanc 3 and hitting Annie 3 is a gigantic spike for this comp.
Yeah.
He's still looking for GS probably here. He slammed the BF, so it's either GS or Gunblade. Not so sure. Ooh, there's the first one.
Here we go. There's the first golden unit that he was looking for, but this lobby is really tight at the bottom here. Sia Nerds has started winning some rounds at 1 HP, able to stabilize a little bit. Moldiver Maniac just took a loss to, I believe, Sia Nerds, so is now down at 4 HP. Trade down at 10 HP, and Pi-Hat, and then there's a big gap between that and the top 4. So all of these people are trying to figure it out, see if they can just even scrap for that 5th place that is within reach to get those very, very valuable points.
Yeah, and I believe Sia Nerds has Last Stand activated now. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I remember seeing it. I think he had Burning Spirit with Last Stand. A pretty powerful combo. I assume he'd be playing Viego and Renegades with that. And there's the second one. This is a very good hit for him.
Very good hit. Able to get now what I would believe is perfect items on that LeBlanc. Now able to get some really good items on this Soraka as well. I imagine he's going to look to level now instead of to keep rolling to try to hit these 4-cost unit upgrades.
Yeah, he's going to look to level and try and get that Echo 2, that Soraka 2. And then I think he can win this game. I think he can actually win out from this spot. He's fighting Sia Nerds, who does have Last Stand activated.
Does have Last Stand activated, but doesn't really have any meaningful items on meaningful carries that are upgraded whatsoever. But these units in the backline got absolutely deleted still because of this Last Stand. But as LeBlanc versus the world, will it be enough? The healing, though, is going to be huge, but it won't be enough to take the round win. Down to 2 HP, Pi-Hat clearly upset.
Yeah, Pi-Hat clearly upset with the matchmaking there. And we see 2 people die on this round, Trade and Moldiver Maniac.
Yeah, Moldiver Maniac going down there in 8th place, but Trade, surprisingly, going down in 7th. I was not expecting that from his spot with that Misfortune 2 that he hit, but man, I mean, sometimes you just get perfect lethaled.
Yeah, sometimes you get perfect lethaled. I'm very surprised that comp performed so poorly, though. I thought Anima Squad with the +1 is really, really good. 7 Animas is solid. And you don't even have to play the set front line. It's not as good as it was before. But we should see Pi-Hat take a win here. Hopefully, he is fighting probably the second strongest person in the lobby, though.
I mean, it is a little difficult for this LeBlanc to get the resets off this Oxforce comp. I believe it has 6 Oxforce in, as well as this Samira 2 now. This Viego is doing a lot of damage and not really dying because this BT and Oxforce continues to reset, but LeBlanc will clear. Pi-Hat, a little bit stressed, but does get through the round.
Yeah, Oxforce is the LeBlanc counter. She needs those resets to actually keep, doing damage. Otherwise, she just sits there and autos you for 1 damage a turn, for 1 damage an attack. And those Oxforce units, they're not glitched, but they will be changed so that this next coming patch, Mortdog said that they will be changed to actually cause those on death triggers to occur. So like the blue buff mana will come back.
Yeah.
If you have Throw of the Hunt, you're not instantly just countered by
Ooh.
Oxforce.
Yeah, and Kranos, who just hit this Vein 3 with this reroll duelist board, now facing the board from Pi-Hat. This will decide who will go 4th or 5th, I would imagine. LeBlanc now, though, on to this Misfortune in the backline, does get this cast off and is healing up a ton, but they kill each other. So it will be up to the supporting cast to decide who wins this round, but it will be Kranos taking the win over Pi-Hat. And so Pi-Hat will be going out in 5th place. Not too bad from his spot, though.
Yeah, not too bad. And oh my god, the Soraka is killing many units. Unfortunately, that Fiora 3 was pretty strong. Couldn't get taken down by just a measly Soraka 1.
This Aphelios with Duelist Spat on it. Yes, please.
Yeah, I think that was just dev console. Then there's no way Kranos just got a Duelist Spat on an Aphelios.
Wait, what was this? Was this Kranos guy in Lawrence's predictions?
I believe so. I can take a quick look and let you know.
Lawrence, you can't play favorites like that. That's not okay.
Yeah, that is not fair.
So no more of that.
So he's looking to just play, it looks like 6 duelists until probably next level, I would say. Then he can go up to 8 and drop, I believe, his Alistar, and he'll have 2 Oxforce instantly there. It might even be a fine idea to drop Alistar now for like another either Yasuo 2 or something like that. Just to get he still gets knockups, he gets the 7 duelists, like the duelist value. It kind of effectively works the same with 3 Oxforce, so.
Right. Maybe even transfer some of these items over. I mean, he does Z1 with that Gunblade, but I believe that this Aphelios will be doing more damage in other fights, but gets taken out pretty early in this fight. But Mocha will take a loss here to this strong board. This Vayne is doing absurd amounts of damage.
Yeah, she's absolutely killing it. Partly due to Jeweled Lotus. Jeweled Lotus works really well on her. As I found out very recently, despite, I would consider myself pretty knowledgeable about TFT, and I've definitely improved a lot. I didn't realize that the changes to critting on abilities make you make IE.
I mean, basically, because, IE having that ability crit now basically just makes it irrelevant. Jeweled Lotus is good on every single comp because now everything can crit. There's no need for JG or IE. Curious to see what they do with that in future sets, but this Aphelios is dead. This Zed will kill that Aphelios, but the problem is in this front line is this Fiora 3 is absolutely a problem for opposing boards, but Shining Star is level 9 already, so we'll be absolutely capping this board out, but will not take this round win.
Yeah, will not take the round win. Has combat training or Knife's Edge, and is still looking to scale up. They're doing fine right now. We'll see if they can actually take that and go for a win.
Absolutely. Now having this Oxforce spat on Samira to give that extra attack speed is absolutely fantastic for just Pain Only Pain. Mocha being someone who was a little bit in trouble going into this week. So now it's sitting in the top 4 is a very good spot for them to be. Knick-Knack also being top 4, he's chilling anyways. Shining Star wanting to be in the top 8. And then Kranos just chilling right there in the middle. So we've got some people performing when they need to, and looking forward to seeing where they will finish in this lobby.
Yeah, they're both like Kranos and Pi-Hat, both kind of just switched positions on the leaderboard, but both doing overall well in ACL. I'd like to note that, with Mocha, aka Just Pain Only Pain, doing well, and Sea Nerds doing going bot 4 here, we might see Sea Nerds fall into that category of being below that cut line, and that actually helps Mocha quite a bit, getting that one more person below him. Before, Mocha was more in trouble than he was. So this was a important top 4 for Mocha.
Absolutely, but not able to find that sixth Ox Force over this Aurelion Soul. It kind of seems like a big deal to me. Now able to find that anti heal on the side of the Sunfire Cape is absolutely crucial. But Just Pain Only Pain will be losing to this Zed board from Shining Star, who is already starting to cap out higher than the rest of the lobby at level 9.
Yeah, level 9 on, I believe it was 5-5 or 5-7. He was already level 9, and we see Mocha immediately go level 9, put in a second Viego, finds a Fiddlestick, so that's a big hit.
Yeah,
Immediately.
finds a Ooh, Leona though in the shop as well. So we'll be wanting to slot that in. Curious to see if he'll slot it in over that extra Viego. Won't be able to get to Renegade 6 this game without a spatula. So now we'll be running 2 Fiddlesticks as well as 4 Renegade. Still not able to have that 6th Ox Force as we head into this fight versus Kranos. This is going to be huge to decide who will be in our top 3 in this lobby. Kranos at 15 HP on this win streak, but Viego there onto the back line, onto that. Aphelios does go down, but the huge front line from Kranos is still alive. The Vayne is just absolutely shredding through all of these boards. So Just Pain Only Pain will be taking a loss, going down to -1 HP and dropping out of the game.
Yeah, unfortunate for Mocha, unfortunate for Just Pain Only Pain. But I would like to note something he actually did in that last fight was pretty interesting. I know it's a tech that a lot of players use in these like late game fights. Basically, he put his Viego on the all the way right, put his Zephyr on the all the way left. It Zephyred the closest unit to Viego. The other frontliner in the center was just still in the center. So Viego actually wrapped straight to the back line. And started ulting that Aphelios. If the rest of his team was a bit stronger, had more upgrades, there wasn't a Vayne 3 there, then it wouldn't have. It would have actually been a very important play he made.
Absolutely. Knickknack's board being a really high capped one, having a Leona too, going against these huge front lines, able to do tons of damage to get through it. Though it will take down this Vayne and will also take down Kranos. Yes, perfect lethal. So it will be these 2 high capped boards, Shining Star versus Knickknack, the 2 highest rated people in our lobby, going top 2.
Yep, as we kind of expect, but we've gotten some other different players to move around the standings. Of course, Shining Star and Knickknack are fantastic players. An Aegis spat coming here for Knickknack to kind of mitigate that magic damage from Laser Core, and he kind of can cap out even harder now with that Aegis spat.
Yeah, rolling down now, finding a 2-star Urgot, which is huge. Able to find a Fiddlesticks as well. Not able to quite get it where he would like to. Curious to see if he wanted to switch those items off of that Senna. But on board now with Shining Star, taking a look at what he has.
Yeah, he has an Ace or a Mordekaiser 2 with perfect items, pretty much, I would say. A fantastic Zed with all 3 good items, I would say, as well. But unfortunately, I do think this board will not cap as hard. Laser core damage is great, but it's straight onto Aphelios though.
Yeah, straight on the Aphelios. The house comes down and does so much damage to Knickknack's board. This is a wipe. Oh my goodness, this 6 laser core board absolutely destroys Knickknack.
Wow.
So Shining Star will take the top spot in our lobby, putting him in prime position to set himself up to make top 8 to get that first round bye in the playoffs. What a fantastic showing from Shining Star in that game.
Yeah, Shining Star played amazing that game. He had a fantastic opener. He was playing win streak the entire time, and then just took that and won the game with it. You can do a lot with a lot of gold. And he really showed that. Getting that 6 laser core in on stage 4, and then eventually transitioning to getting that Mordekaiser 2, which just absolutely demolished Knickknack's team.
Yeah, absolutely. Having that early win streak, finding a Zed on level 6/5, whatever he found it. Okay, business, just chilling. Easy way to get to level 9, right? Absolutely. We're really looking forward to game 2 in this lobby and super looking forward to it. But we'll be taking a 5-minute break. We'll be back here shortly. See you soon.
But I have a million reasons to leave you, but I have a billion reasons to keep you.
Welcome back on in for game 2 of ACL week 3. I'm CLE here with Dot. We just had a very exciting first game. Shining Star taking that win. Looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in this game 2. See if we've got some meta forming within this lobby.
Yeah, we might have a meta forming. A lot of the people who actually played Renegades contested each other and didn't top 4, or Mocha got 4th. But we'll see how much capping boards is important. We saw it in the last game. Getting to that Aphelios 2, basically for both boards, can make or break a round, and getting that Zed that actually hackers in and kills it can counter it. So there's a lot of interesting plays that can be made towards the end of the games. And I'm excited to see how people try and get to that, because clearly Moldiver is definitely in need of a first here. Sea of Nerds is probably in need of a first or a top 2 at least, to get out of that hole that they're in. And then Kranos, Pi-Hat, again, both kind of did okay. Kranos top 3'd. So I'm excited to see can these players make the comeback that they need to, and can the players who are already doing well continue their streak. The game has a lot of variance, but when you're that good at the game, you beat variance.
Absolutely. And those people who are at the top, those top 2 players in the last game did go level 9, right? They were capping those boards as high as possible. So that is something that these players need to be aiming for. They need to be aiming for those level 9 boards, that income that is so necessary to get there. And just looking forward to see if some different players can pull that out.
Yeah, I would like to see, a little bit of movement at the top. Shining Star and Knick-Knack are fantastic players. We just saw that. I want to see some different comps maybe get up there, and maybe even not a fast 9 or just a 9 cap board, but like some sort of reroll where you hit a few 3 stars. It might be interesting to see if someone actually goes for that route. Pi-Hat tried it last round, and unfortunately he kind of missed on the Soraka 2. He hit the Annie 3, which was good, but that his carry being his LeBlanc kind of couldn't do enough against Oxforce, which is what a lot of people are playing right now. So
yeah, a 5th, not too bad for that. So, wasn't a terrible result, but obviously not what he's looking for. Hitting those 3 stars just was a little too low HP to hit the rest that he needed, because, you need to go 8. You need to get those other 4 cost units to the 2-star level. It would just be very helpful for that board. Just wasn't able to quite get there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think he was like 48 HP on 3-5, which oftentimes, even if your board is so strong, there is someone who is strong as well. There's someone out there who will beat you just once. And unfortunately for Pi-Hat, that is what happened.
Yeah, and that's how a game of TFT is designed, right? Some boards that are capped just beat other boards that are capped. Just for some reason, like that's why traits like Aegis and Defender exist. Because if you build Defender, you're going to beat the AD board. If you build Aegis, you're going to beat the AP board. But, so those things exist for that reason.
Yeah, and I think that's why people love this set so much. There's so much flexibility in terms of what can win any round. You have Hacker for your LeBlanc. Maybe sometimes in some matchups you just don't hacker it in. Sometimes if you're playing against Talon, you have to position it correctly, and then you can always splash in Aegis in a late game board, especially when set is less in the meta, and you're playing more of like the Sedge, Vi, Echo, stuff like that.
Yeah, on board now for game 2 of ACL week 3. Shining Star, our lobby 1 champion, doesn't get item of choice, but does go for that sword as the second option.
Interestingly enough, I am an anti-sword caster and player.
Agreed.
It is just, I loved it in the first patch, and the second one, I think it was the B patch. I really liked it. When Set was still good, it's viable, and when Samira was really good, it's viable. You can hit like IE. It's not terrible, but with the BF, a lot of the times you get dropped the second one, and you're just losing. Like, I don't know what you do with double BF.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good in some of those AP comps, right? Like being able to make Gunblade, being able to make Sojin, being able to make GS even is good in some comps. But with those AP comps that need the mana gen not really being in meta, you really just want that blue buff rather than a Spear Sojin or something like that. Sword has really dropped in priority.
Yeah, Sword has really dropped in priority. I also would like to see this game some short shots, people aren't playing 2 sure shot. It got heavily nerfed and Samira got nerfed. But I want to see a 4 sure shot game. I'm pretty sure it is still strong. The stats on the augment are pretty good. And it's not too hard to get to that line if you have that spat or that heart.
Yeah, and with these items now that are coming through for Shining Star, this looks like a very strong laser core start or duelist start, whatever he does prefer, but only having some brawlers and a pair of defenders in the shop, it's not really looking that direction right now for the units.
Yeah, I'd like to also point out there is an option here, and I think probably a very good one if he can hit some Talons and Siluses. These are perfect already Viego starter items. Titans, and then half of a Gunblade or Bloodthirster, depending on what he can get. And there his Renegade and Ox Force. He might be able to. Oh, he sold one. Okay.
Yeah, he sold one of those Ox Force units. Now looking at this board, why did he clear his board? Do you know that?
I don't know what the tech is there. Maybe the item grab bag is influenced by what you have on board. I don't think it is. Maybe he just wanted to clear his head space for some reason.
Yeah, I have no clue. And, just less units on the board, less dizzy. But I thought it was clear bench, clear mind. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just not a knower.
And we come to Nick Knack's board, where he's taken Celestial Blessing, has the exact same items as our last perspective, a Shining Star.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. He's got the exact same items. I don't know what the odds are of that, but I'm sure they're high. And so Nick Knack, though, with that 2-star Annie, has a very strong front line in this early game to build around. But with these items, I'm not sure you're looking that direction unless you're looking to go Viego.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what direction he's thinking about right now. I mean, the Annie 2, he can get in Gadgetine when he actually finds, the Lulu, probably this next shop, hopefully for him. And then he also has the option of, with a bow and a BF, he can always build GS later on. You really don't want to slam it too early. That extra bonus 30% damage that you get from hitting a unit over 1600 health simply doesn't happen unless someone has a Warmogs in at 2/2, which very rarely does that happen.
For sure, but we're now on board with Just Pain Only Pain, who has that early underground slotted in, so able to start racking up some of these underground stacks to possibly get a huge cash out to swing his board in the mid game. But we'll be facing Kranos, who is currently trying to lose streak with consistency, so that will not be ideal for Mocha for Just Pain Only Pain, who is currently trying to lose. Yeah,
not ideal, but it's not the worst thing ever. Just Pain Only Pain has already hit 10 gold. And if you can give him a 3-unit loss, okay, so he's only giving a consistency player a 2-unit loss when they're trying to lose streak. Not the best thing in the world, but you can see, Just Pain Only Pain might look to actually just play strongest board at this point. He might just look to play slam his Gunblade probably, and then slam his Chain Vest and look to see if he can be at least strong enough to beat maybe Pie Hat or Moldiver Maniac. So he has basically a 2/5 chance of playing them, so a 40% chance of playing someone weaker than him. So he might look to try and get that get just a small win streak going.
Yeah, but Pie Hat, though, is looking pretty strong, though, but will face one of the strongest augments in 2-1, especially for silver augments, being that laser core heart, giving that extra laser core trait will be really strong. But will it be able to beat this 2-star Rel frontline for Pie Hat? I do not believe so. But, these drones have done crazier things.
These drones have done crazier things. I think the cat with the hat might win.
Cat with the hat on a book, but it's not cat in the hat. It's cat on the book with the hat.
Cat on the book with the hat. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But there's probably a book about the cat with the hat. I don't know. I think I should just give up casting and be a rapper. Maybe.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think?
I think that is a line you could take.
That you don't sound very confident.
I'm not confident about your rapping career. I'm going to be honest with you, CLE. I think you might have more of a career with casting, and I think a good one.
Well, that means you're just a real friend. Let's be honest. You're just leading me, probably in a better path, not encouraging me in my rapping career. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. As we come back to TFT, we see, Pie Hat looking to streak now. He beat probably the strongest in the lobby with Laser Core Heart and a Yasuo too. This Rabadon's cat is pretty strong, and that 2-star Rel with the Wukong is extremely strong as well.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see a Yumi reroll there come through, especially with that 2-star Rel already. But we're now on board with Trade, who does have Laser Core Heart, as well as the opponent on the other side with Sea Nerds also having that. So will be a contested line, but also having a spatula to possibly make another Laser Core, possibly able to go 9 Laser Core on level 8, which is huge. Huge potential and high capped in this current meta, and will be taking this win versus Sea Nerds, which is absolutely massive for their win streak in this game.
Yeah, I stand corrected. Trade has the strongest board. This is unreal. Yes. The Yasuo 2 at on 2-5 with this Spark already slammed, a tier for probably redemption, but you don't really care too much about getting those like backline items started yet. And he has the easy opportunity, like so easy to get 9 laser core. So I expect Trade to make a huge comeback from last game. I think he went bot 4 last game. And I think he's gonna pretty safely, I would say, get to a top 4 position this game.
Yeah, but we will have the 2 win streakers fight one another. This Oxforce board with 2-star Annie versus Trade's board with the Laser Core in. This will be a very crucial fight for both of them, whether or not they will be making tons of gold going into this neutral round or not. It's looking very close at the start. The Talon will not be able to take down the Ashe in the back line, so that will be helpful for the DPS, but the front line of the Annie is just too much. So Trade will be losing that 5 streak going to neutrals in some crucial economy.
I stand double corrected. Nick Knack had the strongest board in the lobby, but I do think it's okay for Trade here to lose 5 streak. A lot of the time, that is just like instantly -2 placements. But with how strong Trade can probably cap his board and so quickly, he can get 5 laser core as soon as he has a BF sword, or 6 laser core as soon as he has a BF sword. So he's in a great spot. Getting a bow here is also fantastic. Just getting more procs of that laser core damage. It's not going to be too hard a line to play for him, and he's kind of got his ideal setup right now.
Yeah, Runin's Hurricane being one of the best items in this comp, especially on Zed, who just does so much damage and also saunders some of his enemies as he goes into the backline. Finding another Senna is huge. Senna being one of the best mid-game carries for any comp, really, especially in this meta. So really just hoping for those upgrades, but now that he's lost his win streak, just kind of chilling, looking to get some econ.
Yeah, he's looking to get some econ. I kind of think if he wins this next round, on 3-2, if he doesn't, hit like laser core spat or something, or like I don't actually know what augments he's kind of looking for. He might be looking for a hero. I believe the odds are more so in favor of gold after a silver. But I kind of expect him to level to 6 and roll probably 10 gold, 15 gold, just as long as he's above 20. I think he wants to hit the pairs of Senna and Renekton if he wins this round. If he loses, then he might just stay on the train of, I can take some hits, I'm healthy, I'll get this BF sword off carousel as long as I keep losing.
Yeah, and I think this is just what he would call a good loss, I think. Yes. Able to maintain that lose streak going into this round. Goes for the component grab bag, hoping for that sword, does not get it. And actually gets probably the worst items he could get. Maybe even he's got a locket, but that blue buff is kind of useless.
Blue buff is kind of useless. Honestly, it's probably Protector's Vow just to find something. It's Protector's Vow. And Shiv with Ionic Spark isn't the worst combo in the game. So I am going to out myself here as a Soju chatter. And our favorite TFT influencer actually has stated that Spark has the upside of having unlimited uptime, but it only works on the front line, whereas Shiv can hit 4 enemies and doesn't have unlimited uptime, but it's not terrible. He looks to just slam blue buff. It's fine on Yasuo. It'll be fine on Sedge as well to get that first cast later.
Yeah, I think blue buff's a fine item. Like, it really doesn't move the needle. Definitely not what he was looking for when he clicked that augment, but it will be okay. Obviously, having extra items than everyone else is an advantage. A Locket is really good in Laser Core as well, being able to give some of that extra stall time for those drones to just do their damage. But, not finding that sword is quite detrimental. Not finding, many more AD items or even some gloves, just not a great spot.
Yeah, not the best spot as we come over to Knickknack's board, who is still 100 streaking. I mean, his board
That's
is
a
so
great
strong.
spot. Yeah, he's in a great spot. 100 HP. Piehat also streaking at 88 HP, so that's something to call out as well. But Knickknack is just consistently performing across all of AML or ACL. I'm sorry, it just absolutely dominating some of these games. So continuing the win streak, now having 7 wins in a row. Now slotting in Duelist to switch these items onto Vayne. What do you think is the best RFC carry right now?
I can't really say. I mean, I think Vayne is probably one of the best, only because you're not really that great mid game on like anyone else that is a 2 or 3 cost. It's probably Belveth at 4 cost. Honestly, it's probably Belveth in general. And then Zed is like pretty terrible. I think it might be worse than Slot, honestly. Just because he ults and puts himself within 1 unit anyway. And we'll just get hit. So
we do have a spatula on this carousel, though. I do want to call that out for some of those who are looking for Laser Core spat, for some of those who may be looking for Renegade or Ox4 spat, or maybe just someone like Trade who, do we know what he's doing with that?
Yeah, I think he's going to take that and make a Fawn, make that Tactician's Crown instead of just doing double Laser Core spat. It might eventually, okay, if he had the double BF, I think double Laser Core spat is stronger, actually.
Agreed.
Because then you don't need to find the Mordekaiser. But he's just going to take this, get the free extra unit, go straight to 7, and roll for a couple of upgrades here, and just put in 8 units on level 7. And now he has the chance to just infinitely streak, right? Get to 8 and roll probably 30 or 40 gold. Oh my gosh.
Finds this Zed, also this Vayne, which is also really good for Duelist. Looking to probably sell some units. Didn't even slam Fawn yet, so maybe he's holding out?
I guess he is. It is such high value to not have to find that Mordekaiser, I will say. And he's not really super unhealthy. He just has to find those 2 BFs. It really is just a question of, can he find 2 BF swords at any point? And as soon as he does, he's spiked to immediately the strongest person in the lobby.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to win this fight too, which is obviously really good. Able to keep that HP high. It will kind of grief the econ a little bit. I mean, he has 0 econ, which is a little bit of concern. But if he gets a sword on this neutral round, hopefully even 2, this board is going to be insane.
Yep, this board will be insane as soon as he can get to 8, though. He has to wait a little bit.
This board from Kranos is currently one of my favorites. I will out myself as a reroller. I love reroll comps. I think I'm pretty good at them. Just like, I don't know. I just feel like I know how to do it right. Like, know when to level, know when to give up, kind of thing. Anyway, that's besides the point. But I love reroll boards, and this is definitely one of the best right now. Able to use supers in a way that just absolutely pumps this Draven up to the max, doing so much damage.
Yeah, and I think Kranos is in a fantastic spot here. He's only 3 off Draven with 50 gold at level 6. He's only 2 off of Wukong 3, and kind of close to Malphite 3 as well. So he's definitely been rolling at 6 for quite a while. With that consistency, he's really looking for a win here, though. And it looks like without that Bloodthirster, he will not get it.
Right, that healing is very important. That board from Shining Star is quite interesting, though. Do want to call out that Knickknack and Piehat both lost their streak, so will not be streaking into the second neutral round. But as Kranos is rolling down here on neutrals, trying to search for some of these units to upgrade them, really just needing to stabilize.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that he's rolling down on neutrals. I guess he's already fully prepped everything besides that Malphite. I'm kind of surprised he actually wanted to roll for Malphite. If he's gonna 3-star it, it might be that he just goes 8 or 7 after he hits that Draven, Wukong, and
Ooh.
Lee Sin.
Yeah, and he does now have that Hextech Gunblade and Draven 3 coming through, so he is looking to win out. Now we'll continue to roll down for the rest of these supers units that he's looking for. I'm surprised he's not picking up these Jaxes just to see if he can get another 3-star in to pump up that damage even more. Finding a billion Malphites on the way down, but not some of the units that he's looking for. We'll find Lee Sin 3. Now it's 2 Malphites off, 1 Wukong off, and many of those gangplanks off. So I imagine he'll slam Gunblade here and just be chilling.
Yeah, this looks like a fantastic spot for Kranos. I assume he's holding the Gunblade first to see if he gets like Celestial Blessing here. I believe silver gold means it will be a 80% chance of hero, 11% chance of silver, and prismatic. So there is no chance for the CB2, and I think CB1 is probably not the best take here for him. So it's probably just going to be a Gunblade here, unless a crazy difference in a CB3 from a prismatic augment.
Yeah, and I think the pace of this lobby is drastically different from the last game we saw. Many people rolling on level 7, but we have a 5-cost hero augment choice coming through, able to find the Leona augment. So we'll be going 5 mech here shortly. What does this one do, Dot? Do you know?
The Leona augment, I believe, makes your entire team take 20 less damage. Just from anything. So it's a strong augment. It's fantastic in his spot. It's the only really clickable augment for him there. And I'm intrigued to see what Trade got, because if Trade got his Mordekaiser right there, it is an instant first from him.
And as you call it out, he did slam that Tactician's Crown, but does have that Mordekaiser already with some AP items on there, so that Mordekaiser will be doing insane damage. Also having a Janna already with Sunny is pretty good to start up the front line. He's leaving. He's
Interesting.
AFK.
This tactic I have not seen yet before, but I kind of think it does not matter. I think he could position almost in any way as long as Mordekaiser has like a somewhat good angle, and he will win. The Zed with the Edge of Night is great. Looks like he eventually got his first BF, but he's fighting a pretty strong board in Moldiver Maniac. These recon drones, though, pretty strong.
Yeah, 6 laser core drones doing a lot more damage now, and he's still gone. He's at 40 gold, level 7. He's going to have another shop here. I wonder if he'll come back for it. I mean, there's nothing really of value for him, but will he come back, you think?
Oh, there he is. He's back.
Okay. What does he got? You just had to go pee or something? I don't know. Welcome back, Trade. We're glad to have you.
All right, we're seeing upgrades come across on a lot of boards. Moldiver Maniac hitting his Viego 2 right after he actually fought Trade there.
Yeah, there's going to be some interesting fights coming through. Some people have hit, some people have not. Mocha, though, 4 sure shot, just pain, only pain, having one of those really strong late game augments with so much healing on his board with triple Hextech Gunblade. I don't know how you get that many. That's 3 swords, 3 rods.
That is component grab bag. Unfortunately for Trade, Just Pain, Only Pain stole all the BFs.
Yeah, clearly.
And slammed 3 Gunblades. But I think Just Pain, Only Pain with this 4 sure shot on level 7 is an amazing spot, hitting a Philios on that augment, which looks to be locked and loaded, which also synergizes really well with sure shots, just buffing more AD per, I believe, 5 seconds.
I mean, I'm not too familiar. I haven't played many of these 5-cost hero augments. I feel like every time I play, it's a 2-1 augment. So more dog, please.
And it's very interesting. We got to see a 5/5/5 augment. I know a lot of people do not like them, especially when you're playing something like, at least I think this game, no one's playing Anima Squad, but last patch when Anima Squad was extremely relevant, there's no 5-cost Anima Squad unit. And so it's kind of just a complete Mort dog when that happens.
Yeah, no one is happy when that happens. Just Pain Only Pain will slot in a Janna to help shore up this front line a little bit, but will only use it on one unit. I mean, hopefully he'll reposition for that. But scouting around, looking at how is best to position here, whether to spread out his carries, to clump them, see who can get this extra front line in from this Janna. Will be facing this board from Trade that he was comfortable AFKing with. Now at 50 gold on level 7, so looking to go level 8 here soon and hopefully level 9.
Yeah, I think Just Pain Only Pain might be able to take this one. His Vilios died instantly. That is a gigantic hammer being slammed, building being slammed by Trade's Mordekaiser. But
yeah, the healing coming through is absolutely massive for this Samira, with the Last Whisper as well being an absolutely crucial item, especially in this 4 sure shot comp. The infinite ramping up with the AD with 4 sure shot just absolutely wiping the board. Kranos, though, also on a win streak with that Draven board, now hitting Wukong 3 as well to give extra damage from the supers.
Yeah, and it looks like Just Pain Only Pain is looking to transition from his his Vi 2 and Renekton 2 into a set mech frontline. His items are pretty good for it with having that the 2 Protector's Vows. It allows him to just kind of solo frontline and get more value from him. Whereas like those items are fine on Sejuani, but you don't get as much value from the gargoyles on that unit.
Yeah, Shining Star playing a double trouble Kaisa reroll, but not hitting anything. This is crazy. Having a fully 1-starred frontline, not only having 4 copies of this Kaisa as well. This is looking doomed for our player that just absolutely dominated the last game. This is a huge low roll. What in the world?
Yeah, this is a huge low roll, seeing as he's not contested even at all. And like we talked about earlier, I think the Kaisa Vayne board is just not as strong as it should be, and it's not as strong as it was. And even with Double Trouble, if you're not hitting these like upgraded at least double 2 stars, it's just gonna slowly bleed you out, and it looks like it's happening pretty quickly, unfortunately, for Shining Star.
Yeah, I mean, it's just pretty doomed, especially with this lobby that the tempo spiked so much with this 5-cost hero augment being slotted in, able to get some of these high traits that people want, some of these very high-powered augments in as well, and he's just got some extra AP. It's just not really what he was looking for.
Yeah, empowered reserves on 4-2 with this board is just really not it, unfortunately. And he doesn't really have the gold to hold a lot of units on his bench. He's really got to look to hit everything here if he wants to stand a chance.
Yeah, we'll go for this roll down. Able to find a few Kaisas. One off now of Kaisa 3, which would be absolutely massive to spike this board even further. We'll roll down even more, maybe a few more for the boys. Will not choose to do so. 18 HP is probably 2 lives here at stage 5-1. So we'll be chilling with that newly found upgraded frontline with Rammus 2 and another Kaisa 2 on the board as well.
Yeah, he's looking to, one more life. No. He might be able to make 10 here if he can somehow beat this.
Yeah, somehow beat this board on the other side from Just Pain Only Pain. This Rammus will not even cast. The Janna CC coming through is just going to be too much. The 4 sure shot ramping up, just absolutely decimating this board. Will drop him down to single-digit HP to 1 HP. So 1 HP in a dream for Shining Star, but the dream is about to end, I would imagine.
Yeah, if he can hit this Kaisa 3, there's a chance. But again, it's not looking great.
No.
The rolls are not there for him.
It feels so bad. It just goes and sells the Cho'Gath to get double trouble, at least on this Echo. But man, will not have enough gold. Will sell the Vayne to slot in another Kaisa. Slots in. Yeah, okay. This is an FF angle. Go next.
Yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes you low roll. No. Sometimes you really low roll, and he's fighting another really strong player with that set 2 front line with Warmogs, and I just don't see how these Kaisas ever actually can kill this.
No, he's just getting really bad matchmaking too. Maybe Cia Nerds will go out with a bigger loss, but he takes a huge loss. Negative 16 HP as we go on board with Kranos with this Draven board as well. 80 gold, level 7. Leveling up a little bit, not quite to level 8 yet. I imagine he's going to do that at 5-5.
And Kranos is absolutely chilling now. He does not really have to even play the game, and I think he'll win. Especially with consistency here and hitting that Draven 3 on 4-2 or 4-1. You just don't really have to do that much after that point. You're just gonna make infinite money, and then you go 9 and you play 5 mech, and you're done. Like that's basically how you play that. And I don't think it really matters where he positions at that point. The Draven 3 without League of Draven or Ruthless Blades is still a strong carry. You don't really need the augment during this patch.
Right.
And with Super's damage, he's just gonna eventually kill everything. It just takes time.
Yeah, and Kranos will be seeing see a nerd to see a nerds, and see a nerds will go out in 7th place there, just taking a big loss from that Draven who is just unkillable. So some of our players who did well last game, Shining Star going out, who won our last lobby in 8th place. C-Nerds went 6th last game and now going 7th. He was in trouble going into this week, being 3 points off that bottom 8, and now not looking great.
Not looking great. He'll have to have a very, very good games 3 and 4. Otherwise, unfortunately, C-Nerds will be gone. Unfortunately for a couple of the other players in this lobby, we see Mocha, Just Pain Only Pain, hitting a lot of upgrades, hitting Aphelios 2, hitting this set 2. It looks like this board is pretty much capped until he goes 9.
Yeah, I mean, you're just going 9 here. You're probably selling some things that you don't think you're going to play. Probably either keeping that Echo or that or the Alistar to go level 9 with, to possibly slot in Oxforce, to possibly slot in some Aegis if that's where he chooses to go.
Yep, this fight is an interesting one. Moldiver Maniac still streaking, despite how strong some of these boards are. He's doing well with that Empowered Reserves Syndra augment.
Yeah, this Moldiver Maniac's board with Viego 2 is pretty strong, but it's not going to be as capped as some of these boards. But I stand corrected. Just continues to keep healing up, but wait, never mind. Sure Shot just scaled.
Sure Shot scaled, and Double Gunblade always keeps that set alive. It is amazing.
Yeah, it will just continue to ramp up here. Finding Echo 2, I'm not quite sure why he continues to roll. I mean, this is probably better than that, but those items are ridiculous on Ramus.
He waits one round.
He definitely waits. That is just so good.
Oh, and we see Knickknack doing a bit of a roll down here.
Why is everyone playing the same comp? Everyone's trying to go for this 4 sure shot board with this Aphelios. I mean, I guess it makes sense because it is very high capped, but it's just a little monotonous as you just Spider-Man meme everywhere. Everyone trying to play the same thing with this mech, with this sure shot in the back line, classic front to back fight. But I believe that Just Pain Only Pain will absolutely wreck this fight. But that was a huge tidal wave, getting a lot of gold from that Urgot cast, but just going to get absolutely destroyed, especially as these 4 sure shots ramp up versus the 2 sure shot on this other side. Will not go down, but will be at 4 HP.
Yeah, unfortunately for Knickknack, Just Pain Only Pain simply hit better than he did, hitting Aphelios 2 on level 8, whereas, even though I believe Knickknack's Aphelios items are better, he doesn't have the healing for his set, he doesn't have that Gunblade, and he's just kind of missing some of the overall components to make this comp really strong. He's not playing 4 sure shot either, so he's playing on a nerfed version of a comp that was just very good last patch and not as good this patch.
Yeah, not as good. 2 sure shot, just really not feeling too good in this patch whatsoever. But Kranos, though, with this Draven reroll, still chilling, especially as some of these people start to cap their boards even higher. Do you think this board could win the game?
The Knickknacks board or the Draven board?
The Draven board.
I think the Draven board could win. I don't know if it'll beat that 4 sure shot board. And while I think
Mm.
sure shots are very strong, I think that the amount of the nerfs towards Samira and sure shots makes it so that Aphelios is just the unit you have to play. And without that Aphelios too, I don't think it can beat a capped Draven board, which eventually, we will see Kranos get to. He was on his track to 9 really quickly. And I see these like set mech front lines that are just eventually gonna get destroyed by some of these other capped boards.
Yeah, I curious to see or think about why mech is the front line of choice still with all of the nerfs that have come through, but able to find way better items now for Knick-Knack on this mech, especially the HP healing that comes with that Dragon's Claw, able to get some more gold and a component from Urgot here, and we'll take a round win versus Pi-Hat, even though this Soraka is popping off. There was so much damage in that last cast, but it won't be quite enough.
Yeah, it won't be quite enough, but we see Knick-Knack actually buy a placement out of that round. So that was an important win for him.
Yeah, Trade going out there in 6th place. Trade who went 7th in our last game, now going 6th. So some of these players that, we're kind of out of the bottom, are not really looking at those top spots here in these first couple games.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Trade, that takes him pretty far out of the top 8. He was 4 points off of top 8 coming into this game. I don't know exactly where he'll stand after, but I can't imagine it would be any higher.
Yeah, and not looking too good at all. Moldiver Maniac, though, with this Renegade board, I'm not sure if it's 6 Renegade or not. We do see a Renegade spat on this LeBlanc on the other side, so maybe doing insane amount of damage, not quite sure, but this Viego is onto the back line, but the healing coming through for Samira is absolutely insane. Viego jumping away from the carries because they are very smartly spread out, so we'll be taking another win, not quite buying himself another placement, but these fights will decide who will be top 3 with 5 people left.
Yeah, we'll see. Honestly, Kranos might be able to give someone a 1-unit loss if he fights Pi-Hat or Moldiver Maniac.
Mm-hmm.
And it might actually not be all 2 people fully dying. There could be just 1 person dying, I believe. We'll have to see exactly what happens, who fights each other. It looks like the opponents who are low HP are just going to fight each other here, not the ghost.
Mm-hmm. And Kranos finding a set 2 here is going to be huge for that board. We will see Just Pain, Only Pain versus Pi-Hat on this board. So this Soraka carry board versus this 4 sure shot board, which one will reign victorious? The Shroud not hitting onto Soraka, so Soraka will ramp even faster. The set frontline, though, is absolutely tanking up a storm. Fiddlestick's about to cast, though, the first Fiddlesticks in the front line into the back line, but the sure shots have ramped up, will be doing so much damage, so Pi-Hat will be going out. Will it be in 3rd place? Will it be in 4th place? Will it be in 5th place? We will see. Soraka doing a ton of damage will not quite be enough, but that will be a 3rd place for Pi-Hat. Moldiver Maniac in 4th place with negative 8 HP, and Knick-Knack, one of our strongest boards, going out in 5th place.
Yeah, wow. Knick-Knack going out in 5th. I believe Moldiver Maniac, his board was pretty solid. Ended up actually making a big comeback. His first game was not great, but he's showing out strong for his boy CPV Yota. So good to see that. And now we're gonna see, can that resolution that we were talking about, can this Draven board actually beat the Samira and the Phelios 2 and the set with that Leona 2? It might be able to.
I can't see it. I can't possibly see it happening, especially with double healings items on this Leona, just going to sustain throughout the entire fight, able to kill this mech basically instantly on will. But do want to shout out both these players. They're both going to have 2 top 4s in the first 2 games. This Leona will not be onto the mech first. Just kidding. It's switched aggro. I don't know why that happened, but I'm sure Kranos is happy about it.
Because of the taunt from defenders, it was close enough to walk there.
Yeah, and this fight is not going to be very close unless sure shots do something crazy that I would not be expecting. Kranos taking this easy win with this Draven Supers reroll, just something that we have seen a little bit on ladder when it works, but haven't seen it much so far in the ACL or the AML. But wow, it was a statement coming through. So this player Kranos, who went third in the first game, going first in this game. Fantastic showing by them.
Yeah, it was awesome to see him play consistency. He, I think, 8 lost and then started winning after that, and then hit that Draven 3 on 4-1 and then did not lose a single round after that. So he played it perfectly. It actually makes me want to go out and play the line of like, okay, I get offered consistency, I'm just going to play Draven. Like, it's strong enough to win out eventually, and it was awesome to see.
Yeah, fantastic board. Really loved it. Shout out to Just Pain, Only Pain, for also getting 2 top 4s, going 4th and then 2nd place there. Really good showing by them. Multivermaniac coming in as a sub, able to get a top 4 there in the ACL. So looking good for them as well. So really, really good games. Looking forward to 2 more. I will be sticking around, but we do have to say goodbye to Dot here on the broadcast. So Dot, any shout outs before you head off?
Yeah, I'm going to do just 2 shout outs. My Twitter is at @dot_TFT. If you ever want to follow or just see what I'm talking about, most of the time I am just literally just talking to CLE on Twitter. And then the other thing is shout out to my boys who are subbing into ACL today, Owen9842 and Expired. Good luck. I haven't gotten to see how they're doing. I'll have to take a look afterwards, but I hope they're doing well.
I am sure they're crushing it, just like you are. You're crushing it, Dot. I appreciate you coming in. So we will be going to a 5-minute break, and then I will be rejoined with the legend himself, Protroid, as we head into block 2 of the ACL of week 3. Welcome back on in. CLE and Protroid here with you guys. So excited to be in Block 2 with everyone. It's just been a great day so far. Protroid, what are you looking forward to?
Looking to see more great TFT, my friend CLE. Like, we got to see a bunch of fun stuff on stream. I also was watching a little bit around on other streams as well, seeing what the other blocks are doing as well. Just, in a little bit of prep, trying to make sure things are getting ready here. We got an exciting block here filled with a lot of players that have been doing absolutely great in the standings so far. But unfortunately, haven't had as good of a day today so far. KPK, I think, was the main player that I'm looking at, for example, where they had, I think, 24 points overall going into this week. But unfortunately, went 8-7 in their first game, Block 1. If you look over a little bit further, oh yeah, you first.
They were pretty clearly in the top 8. I believe they were 4th or 3rd going into this week 3, and now they're out of the top 8 completely. So really had a rough first 2 games, and now really need to come back.
Yeah, same thing with Sexy Norris as well, by the way. They also have been very high consistently. People know them in this scene. They are very bombastic. And unfortunately for them, they started their Block 1 with an 8-8. So that's also a pretty rough scoreline that they're going to have to try to work to come back from. But this is a complete reseed. Things are going to be looked at with fresh eyes here. They have the time. They have the energy. I think both these players can try to swing back.
Yeah, I mean, Sexy Norris dropped all the way down to the bottom 8. So he is in danger of going out in week 3 of the ACL. So these players really, really need these big comebacks here in these games 3 and 4 here on the broadcast.
Yeah, it's going to be a tricky thing for, I think, everyone to navigate just working through, especially because, again, like, this isn't a easy to run over lobby. Like, Anox is in this lobby. Pi Hat you were able to see in game 1. Granted, 8-1, not the best scoreline there either, but we move on. So all that kind of is going to be exciting stuff to see. This is not going to be a cakewalk for anyone in here.
No, not at all. All of these players being so good at this game of TFT. Really, really looking forward to seeing what's going to come about. Like, are we going to see more of this Fast 9? Or are we going to see kind of what we saw last lobby with some rerolls coming through? I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing what's actually good. Maybe I can learn a few things,
Yeah, that surprised me a little bit too, because I think a lot of what I see in TFT historically for this never-ending patch that we have of A to B to C, I feel like we have seen a deeper and deeper focus on those level 9 boards, right? Try to make sure you're able to run this Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, whatever rich guy we sort of want to appropriate to these like high gold boards in order to make sure that you're able to just get all that value from your Leonas, your Fiddles, your, I suppose, Aphelioses, as we were kind of seeing in the last lobby, as well as you are still on your quest for that 4 sure shot, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, this 4 sure shot board is absolutely the highest cap board as we saw, but we saw some players who really capped out in our first block, and we're going to go look at those predictions here now to see how we kind of did.
Oh boy. Because let me tell you, I was talking with Lawrence the entire preparation for Block 1, and he was feeling pretty confident going into this, as you can even see from the results here. Was able to predict every single player in the top 4 for Block 1, and was able to get Kranos' position absolutely correct. That's just impressive.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's just cheating.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the carousel in that too. Like, that was questionable.
Yeah, he's just cheating. It's fine. Shout out to the casters and community for both getting Pi Hat right, being in 4th place, as well as getting another person in that top 4, a knickknack for the staff being 3rd place. So pretty good placements all around, pretty good predictions all around, something we haven't really seen too much. But we're now going to take a look at our Lobby 2 predictions for the lobby that's coming up.
Yeah, and one more thing, Trade and Shining Star, that hurt me so much. I love watching both of those players. Going into this lobby, though, it looks like casters and the community have that little bit of copium that we were talking about here. We want to see Sexy Norris do well. We want to see KPK do well. On top of that, too, Pi Hat, as you all talked about very much so on the broadcast, is just a fun player to watch. He reacts. He is in it to win it. And honestly, he loves playing on stream and performs higher as a result there, too.
Yeah, and across the board here for these predictions, we do see Sexy Norris being in everyone's top 4, many people's top 2. So people believe in Sexy Norris. He is a really good player, but this first block did not show it. But other than that, we see a lot of the other players, Pi Hat being a favorite, KPK being a favorite, but a lot of different people within this top 4.
Yeah, Lawrence, once again, by the way, sort of shows himself as this, like, out of the box kind of thinker, because I feel like in most of these predictions that we've sort of seen, Lawrence is sort of off doing his own thing and saying, oh, looking at this, I think Banana Pajama is going to top one this. Only the community shares that kind of conviction that Banana Gems is going to be in the top 4, just period. On top of that, too, they're giving a chance to Chandler as well, which is a very strong player. I've enjoyed watching them week after week. Do I think they're as strong as, say, for example, Jota or Pyharenox? I think there still needs to be some convincing there on my part. All that said, though, for Lawrence, if they're looking for these big swings in order to get back into the point totals through, the all-important predictions bracket, I think they need to make big swings like this. And honestly, he's proved us wrong before.
Absolutely. And I'm really looking forward to seeing Chandler once again on stream. I believe he's been here every week so far on the ACL. And so, just a mainstay, just a familiar face for us all to look at and just watch them play the game.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, too, you're speaking of mainstays. I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Sexy Norse really quickly, because Sexy Norse plays in so many, an incalculable number of tournaments at this level. So they have been in pretty much every single position they can kind of think of in any leaderboard, bracket, so on, so forth, so whatever. So even though, like I said, I'm a little bit concerned about where they are right now in this position of this tournament, they've come back from worse. They've been in this position before. They know how to play around it. It's just going to be a matter of how they make their next steps as we're going to be going into Block 2.
Yeah, really looking forward to see if they can pull it. I want to do a quick shout out to Moldiver Maniac, who is subbing for one of our players who did get a top 4 last lobby, and we will see them again in this lobby. So really thankful for them being able to sub and fill that spot and also perform pretty well and be able to steal some top 4s from people.
Yeah, like I said, Moldiver, I believe, too, is in the AML as well. So they're playing at a level that is much higher than they're used to. Granted, they had the warm-up day of just playing their regular games in the AML as well, so they were able to play a bunch of TFT leading into this. But it can be intimidating and scary going into a league that is just higher than the usual skill level. You have to perform at a higher level than you're used to. Some players are used to that pressure. They like the pressure. They feel like they can learn in these kinds of environments in order to sort of sharpen their diamond even more. However, other players, they can freak out. They can start to spiral. And I'm so happy that we're not seeing that right now.
Absolutely not. These players are well versed in the tournament sphere. They play a lot of these games, especially in the AML. And you know what? There's a big difference between these tournament games and these ladder games. And I think it's something to note about these leagues.
Oh, definitely. And I think the biggest one that comes to mind for me personally is that how you start seeing pocket metas perform, right? Because when you're playing in any kind of league, any kind of server, you're playing the result of what everyone thinks is the quote unquote best comps, best units, best everything, just generally. And whenever you see those differ, say, for example, the NA ladder versus the EU ladder, you're going to see different ideologies sort of come to form. Break that down even further into a tournament with this many players across this many regions, you're going to start seeing a lot of exciting stuff as we're on to our first carousel, all offensive items.
Yeah, all offensive items are, honestly, in this meta, I'm not a huge fan. I don't really like the offensive items. I think I really love flexing around these defensive items, and offensive items just kind of stick you in a box a little bit, in my opinion. And, I don't know. I'd be curious to hear what these players think about them.
Yeah, I will say for me personally, I like these more conservative starts. I think Belt is probably one of the best early items in the game just because of how it can flex absolutely anywhere. I do like the Rod, though, that KPK has picked up here. Has a lot of meaningful itemization choices, both in the AD tree as well as the AP tree, which I know we've been talking about earlier. A lot more players are trying to look into. And just generally, the one that's been dropped right now, the Hextech Gunblade, I feel like has been such a huge staple of so many comps that we've seen right now, just because of that generalized healing. I don't quite think it's slam worthy at this juncture right now, but we'll have to see what KPK decides as we get a few more items dropping from these minions.
I mean, it is the most flexible and best healing item in the game currently. So definitely not complaining about that item start for KPK. We'll be able to find some more gold here. Not really anything he's super looking for, I would guess. Able to find a pair of units, now able to find a pair of laser cores as well. We'll find Lux 2. I don't know if he wants to make that. Did make a GP2 as well. So having a bunch of 2 stars early is definitely not a bad thing.
Yeah, 2 stars, a 2 stars, a 2 star. Like, this is a huge amount of bonus stats that are coming up here. Granted, I don't really think you're seeing too much of a direction starting to form. Gangplank with supers, it can't perform as we saw last block just generally with the Draven comp. But all that being said, not exactly the strongest thing in the meta right now. That doesn't exactly synergize nicely with the Lux either. But all that being said, having those 2 star stat lines, the extra 1.8 times health on your units and the AD and everything, that's just going to be a huge bonus. As here we go. I think this is 2 of the strongest augments at the 2 star level that we're looking at right now.
Yeah, Raider Spoils being one that really flexes into that recon board, which we have not seen a lot of success with so far in this patch. Depending on your opinion, Re-Energize being super good with those AP boards. Delivery Tips, though, does provide a lot of gold income in these lobbies, especially if you're going to go for the sure shot route. So that also could be a good option.
Yeah, by the way, real quick, love the scouting coming through for KPK, trying to make sure that they're able to spot out anything that looks a little bit fishy, any players that might be trying to contest them in any way, shape, or form. End of the day, though, I like this is probably the safest option they could go for. Also opens them up to the possibility of going for an early underground start, which a lot of players have been favoring. There's that Gunblade I was talking about.
Yeah, Gunblade, an easy slam for that. Not able to put that Raider Spoils into the front line, which you definitely prefer. Won't pick up this Renekton, so probably won't be going a laser core line. Probably will be going with that underground line. But as we look at the overall game of TFT right now with 2-1 hero augments, what are your thoughts on 2-1 hero augments?
I mean, I think they can give you a lot of interesting direction choices. 2-1 hero augments are also a little bit more on the powerful end. I think we've heard developers talk about how a hero augment is supposed to be for a free cost hero, roughly in power with a gold augment. For anything lower than a free cost hero, it should be a little higher than gold. Anything higher cost wise than free, a little bit lower than gold. So it's understandable that we feel pretty powerful emotions about these very strong early game augments here, but a lot of them have excellent utility here. Say, for example, the League of Draven that I believe Pi-Hat's running right now, that's going to be a lot of free gold flowing into their coffers that's going to fuel them to be able to go for some kind of Draven reroll comp. It's all going to be a matter of how they're looking to make the decisions long term.
Yeah, I believe League of Draven is the third highest of the augment choices at 2-1 for hero augments. It is below a 4 average placement, 3.98. So absolutely fantastic. Able to make 10 gold here too.
Well, if you want to talk about 3.96, by the way, that's going to be the Yasuo support augment that we've seen Sexy Norris pick up here. Absolutely insane. It's pretty much been a fairly consistent pickup, I feel like, for anyone that comes through. Pi-Hat also very quickly doing what a lot of high-level players do, just seeing admin, picking in the slam, just seeing if they have any way they want to flex into it. Not anything that's too crazy, as it's all admin focused, and usually you want things that are a little bit more generous, but still a quick little pickup.
Yeah, not really finding the on kill or on ally death ones that they're really looking for those admin triggers, nor are they really planning on running admin with this board, I would imagine. Probably going to be running supers to reroll that Draven. Does scout correctly and dodges the Raiders Spoils hook, so will not be getting ratted by that. But KPK on an early loss streak, it looks like, with this Gunblade Slam. Curious to see if they want to continue that or if they're going to continue to econ up. They have 20 econ already.
I mean, this looks like a really good loss streak to me. I mean, it could be at risk of ending right now. We'll have to see if this Draven is going to be griefing both of KPK and Pi-Hat's economies, and unfortunately that looks like it's going to be the case here. But generally what I look at is that Gunblade combined with, say, for example, the Blitzcrank hook or any other kind of Ornn artifacts that could be created by the Ezreal, all in all, those things are coming together to making sure that you're using as little help as possible through all these fights, so you can minimize the health loss while maximizing your gold gain, from the cash outs from underground later on. It's a very delicate game to balance. I can't wait to see exactly where it lands.
I cannot wait. Wow, that camera is so blurry.
It's okay. It's part of a witness protection thing. Chandler, I believe, is one of the players that has signed up for Tectician's Crown 3, if I can call that out, I think, here. So they're just making sure that no one can see the strats, figure out their strategies just yet.
Yeah, and if I can call us out as well, you and I will both be there. So if you're in the East Coast along that side of the country, come on out. We would love to meet you. It's going to be a great time.
Come on down. We'll cast some games. We'll talk about TFT. I'll probably bring my hexagon, I guess, because I have nothing better to do with it, and it'll be a great time.
Yeah, and shouts out to Aegis for helping me get out there. It's a huge blessing to be able to do that. But we are going to be casting that tournament and looking forward to it, and hopefully seeing Chandler there, not blurry.
Yeah, well, let's get back to this tournament here, though. Pi-Hat did power up to 5 here, trying to break that one-off loss streak, try to turn it into some kind of streak as time goes on. Meanwhile, with Chandler's board, that Lulu 2 with the glitter lance that has been buffed this patch. So I feel like that is going to be pretty helpful to help make sure that these loss streaks are a little bit lighter, as I was talking about, but unfortunately, they're still going to be loss streaks. But a 4 loss, that's pretty dang good.
Yeah, 4 loss, really needing to make this a 5 loss. So not sure he's going to even make this Wukong 2. Not sure it will be the best, but does make it. Didn't really even scout around to see.
I mean, they looked at MC Shady, and MC Shady's board looks weak enough that I don't really think 2-starring the Wukong would impact whether or not Chandler wins. I think Chandler just wins if they go against MC Shady, as you can see. That's a very weak board, intentionally so, to further maximize the econ, already at 40. Insane. So I think Chandler is just saying, listen, I have to make sure that I'm strong enough. I'm going against someone like KPK, that this is going to be as strong a loss. I think that was a great little risk right there, because you knew you were losing to MC Shady either way.
Yeah,
winning against them, excuse me.
Yeah, cut your losses and just absolutely play whatever board is going to save you the most HP and make you the most money. So just a fantastic fundamental way to play this game of TFT.
Oh, but unfortunately, those fundamentals might be failing. It looks like this board might be that little bit too strong. The econ is broken, but with 30 goals going into the Krug round, that at least softens the blow a tiny little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's already pretty rich, so that econ isn't quite as important. Curious to see if we're going to go for a Lulu reroll, having 2-star Lulus here on 2-7. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, too, this is going to be a pretty interesting sort of start. That is the Lux support augment. That means that the 2 close units, as you can see, are getting these pretty huge shields. That will be pretty helpful in terms of making sure these early game boards will be that little tiny bit stronger. Unfortunately, that's not exactly something you can drop unless you were to drop the Lux totally. So, again, the econ hurts a little bit here more, but you're getting your direction off these Krugs.
Getting the direction off these Krugs, also picking up some of these spell slingers that he desperately needs. Checking his admin as well. Combat start, your team gains a 20% HP shield. So we'll be getting some of that early HP if he decides to go that way, but we'll not be sliding it in right now.
And if this was part of the holiday patch, right, you're pumping your fist in the air, right? You were just able to hit the best Jax admin that you possibly could. Unfortunately, though, we're no longer in that kind of meta. And this is the interesting thing about admin, right? We're able to see so many different environments where different synergies can thrive. And now, as you've talked about a little bit previously, all these players are looking for the on-def augment. Switching over to Anox, though, currently still streaking right now off 100 HP with the Vi carry augment. This is absolutely insane. I love the immediate Warmog slam just to make sure she's able to stack up as much as possible.
Yeah, on a win streak with this, with a really strong backline. I know that's a Senna 1, but these items are really good. Basically, a built-in Titans for this Vi as she takes damage. But our second augment choice after our 2-1 hero will be a silver augment. Looking at these augments that really won't shape the game that much, will help give some combat power to some of these boards, but, you know, won't make someone drastically stronger than another.
Yeah, first and foremost, for some reason, Electrocharge, when it first comes up, looks a lot like Recombobulator, so I had a little heart attack. Regardless of any of that, though, I think Second Wind is probably the best play here overall. It means that you're able to run it in so many different boards. If you're running Duelists, that's going to be a lot of frontliners anyway, so it's pretty guaranteed that so many of your units are going to get some kind of HP benefit. That's all going to come down to where KPK is looking to continue this board, though, as we get deeper and deeper into this game.
This is looking like one of those classic recon boards. Already having a 2-star Rammus is pretty huge. On the other side, though, Poison Ender also having a Draven support augment that he's just sacrificing just because I believe that is the extra crit chance coming through there for that unit. But really good items to get extra crit chance for, with the IE and Last Whisper doing tons of damage in Shred. But this fight is going to be pretty close here. Won't be able to kill all of the units on the side of KPK, but will get pretty close with a 2-unit loss. Not too bad.
Still going to be a waffle, though, so KPK isn't quite finding that kind of economic buildup that I think they'd really be looking for in the mid game here. Usually you want to try to find that slingshot so you could be hitting level 7, level 8 kind of on the curbs you expect to. I think KPK should still be on that path. Again, you always want to try beating it as best you can. I saw really quickly in that scout a very early Zed, so already players starting to hit those 4-cost carries.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened in game 1 of our games today. Somebody hit an early Zed. Win streak, just went to level 9 and just absolutely dominated the game. Has this early Zed on the other side. Thank you, producer. Just producer buff, just able to show it right now. Also, Call of the Meek, which is one of the best with this laser core comp.
Yeah, absolutely insane power that kind of comes through here. And you can kind of see the fallout of it coming through as so many players on this border floundering.
Yeah, just gonna take a not bad loss here. Another 2-unit loss is pretty ideal for KPK. Now able to get some prio on the carousel, but not as much as he would like. There is a spatula though, and I love seeing those.
Yeah, I mean, Laser Core is a very interesting spat to go for. We've talked about that 9 Laser Core Exodia a few times through this tournament, and it's very much is a real thing.
Very much is an insane thing if you can get there. It's really hard to get 9 Laser Core without Laser Core Heart, though, because you do have to get to level 9 to put in 9 units. So Laser Core Heart not being one of the things that they had at their silver augment, so will be a little bit difficult. But Moldiver Maniac does go on to that spatula, so that will be huge for them. But this does not look like a supers reroll to me, I don't think.
Well, I mean, I will say we have Pandora's Bench at the ready here. This means that Pi-Hat will have an easier time re-rolling for some 2 costs. That will mean that they will have easier access, say, not only to the Draven they're trying to reroll, but to the Lee Sins, like the one they just 2-starred, or just the random errant Malphites that can come their way. You don't really need to 3-star all of your supers, you just gotta make sure you're 3-starring enough of them. I think the Gangplank is usually the one that falls by the wayside that little bit.
Yep.
As a result, I'd be in a pretty confident place if I was Pi-Hat.
Not a bad place, able to get some extra gold in the pocket, being at 50 gold. Level 6, Sexy Norris, though, is at 10 gold, level 7, with a Samira already, and Spirit of the Exile, so extra attack speed. This Ace going absolutely ham, and taking a 4-unit loss for Pi-Hat, now on a 3-loss streak. So in 3rd place in the lobby, and a 3-loss streak, 65 HP, and pretty rich. Not a bad place to be.
Yeah, and I will say about Norris, too, like, this is what they like to do in these situations, right? They like to level off curve, they like to try to catch people off guard in order to try to get those sneaky little wins that maybe Pi-Hat wasn't expecting. Granted, Pi-Hat still hitting on a 1-star hero unit in the form of their Draven. They still have a bit of a ways to go at this juncture.
Scouting around the lobby, still looking at that Lulu carry. Moldiver Maniac having a Zed as well, so that is very strong. But we do now have this Lulu on the other side, has not really pivoted out of that whatsoever, has sold the other Lulu, so no Lulu reroll coming through, which makes me a little bit sad.
I mean, it's a fun comp, just probably not what you'll be running here today when you got so much on the line. But still, very strong item carrier for a lot of different varieties at this stage. And just generally is making good use of what she's got right now.
And this fight is going to come down to the wire. Both these players, I assume, wanting to lose, but Pi-Hat will take the loss, so we'll have some extra income through this Krugs round. Moldiver Maniac down to 26 HP, pretty low there. Not ideal at all. Sexy Norris, as you called out, leveling to 7, and now having that early win streak.
Yeah, and Pi-Hat, by the way, leveling to 7 is a pretty big deal here, because usually if you're trying to go for any kind of 2-cost reroll, you're staying at 6, that's your highest odds for that level. They're rushing past it, so to me this says that Draven is just a temporary thing right now. This is a drip feed gold augment that they're planning on getting rid of through the mid game.
Yeah, that would be my impression as well. Getting 2 swords here is not really what they're
Ooh,
looking for, but this
gold orb?
Oh, will be a spatula. So curious to see what they do end up doing with that. We'll find a 2-star Draven to carry these items in the mid game. I would imagine just to continue to make gold to transition out of as he gets later into this game.
Yeah, Payat also, again, doing a little rundown here, trying to see if they can find any kind of meaningful carries. Belveth being buffed this patch, is going to be a good example of one at this stage.
Yeah, really good in this mid game. Curious to see what he's going to do with the spatula. I'm without a lot of direction right now. It's going to be hard to know that. Will slam these tank items onto the Rel as well as a Death Blade onto this Draven. So it is looking more and more like it will probably be some kind of sure shot board with slamming those items. Will he slam something on this Belveth, though? I'm not sure, but we'll be taking another loss here to Moldiver Maniac, who does have that laser core heart, which is so crucial, and possibly getting 6 and 9 laser core as he as well has an emblem on that Zoe.
Yeah, and the important thing to remember about Heart is that it allows you to sort of circumvent a lot of those traditional breakpoints. Whenever I have to talk about this, I immediately go back to Innovator, but hold on, let's talk about something that's way more prevalent here before I go back to Gizmos and Gadgets. This is going to be a final gold augment here. Lots of extra power coming in. And with Piehat picking up the Ace emblem, this could be an angle towards 4 Ace, something that was nerfed a little bit in this coming patch. All of those units really taking hits, but could still be a good comp.
Yeah, will he continue to play this Draven as in this 4 ace comp as this carry that's going to continue to ramp up and get gold? Not able to find any aces whatsoever, so that is not ideal. Wants to really find that Misfortune and that Samira. Rolling on 7 to find those is not the place to be, but then does find a Samira. Looking for a Misfortune to slot in as well. Will probably make ace Belveth, I would imagine, but looking to reroll that.
Well, I'd imagine the Ace is probably eventually going to go something like an Aphelios, just because, again, you want to try to double dip with the Sure Shot and Ace between both Aphelios and the Samira, so that makes a bit of sense to me. And as you're right, you don't really want to be rolling for 4 cost at level 7, but because you have Pandora's Bench, you can roll for quote-unquote any 4 cost and hope that you have the more guaranteed roll on your bench as well. So it hurts to hold. You're holding on to 12 gold that you could be making interest off of at this point, but there are also going to be plenty of gold coming from the augment as well. Look at that coming through.
Yeah, that big cast coming through. This could still be a win. Doesn't quite get it, which is what he would like, actually. Now continuing that loss streak at 6 losses. This reroll comes through. Does get Sedge 2 out of it, which is obviously good. We'll roll down here to try and find Misfortune. Not finding one, finds another Belveth. We'll buy that, but no Misfortune coming through, so no 4 ace in the future as we hop on board with KPK running this 4 recon board.
Yeah, and this is what you were talking about, right? These 4 recon boards, love running that front line. There's just so much CC, both in terms of just the Rammus jumping and stunning, but also remember the mana read that comes in from the Cho'Gath. It's really good at slowing down a lot of the, for lack of better terms, frets that could really threaten these recon units that are still, unfortunately, only 1 star.
Yeah, he's at 0 gold, level 7, 1-star Kaisa, 1-star Ezreal, 1-star Vayne. He's not in a good spot.
Nope, I also see pair on this bench. So again, so close to all of them, and it makes sense. That's why you'd want to try to roll down to 0 as much as you can. Because like, oh, I just need to hit this to stabilize. Oh, I just need to hit this to stabilize. You're not building up an economy, so you're really just going to be at the mercy of the Mortdog.
Yeah, the mercy of the Mortdog has not been kind to KPK this game. Really looking to upgrade some of those units to shore up that front line as well. Able to have a bunch of 2 stars, which helps. But without the backline follow-up, it's just not going to be enough. We do have a Misfortune on the carousel. If our people would like to go for that, KPK will go for that to try and make a Warmogs, I would imagine, to put onto that Rammus to make it even tankier.
Yeah, that is going to be absolutely insane. Remember, frets don't have any innate scaling from their abilities, so they're going to rely so heavily on the items. And this, honestly, this ramp's looking very threatening. That Urgot as well, that's going to be a pretty good thing to throw in, but you're going to have to be giving up your recon at this stage. I don't really think you can afford to lose the Rammus too, and so the Urgot just goes out.
Oh, that feels so bad. Urgot being one of the best units in the game, if not the best unit in the game. So it just hurts no, it is the best unit in the game, highest placement period. And so that just really hurts to be able to have to sell that unit to upgrade your front line or upgrade your back line to try to do some kind of damage to stabilize you in this mid game.
Remember, though, it is a quote-unquote stalling unit, right? Like, a lot of the power that you get from the Urgot is going to be from the stages after you're running and not the stages that you're running it. So as a result, with KPK already at 49 HP, granted, that's an okay scoreline for here, I wouldn't feel confident enough with the board strength that you have to be willing to run that Urgot for these next couple stages. But the losses continue.
Losses continue. Sexy Norris being level 8 already, continuing to push the pace of this lobby. Able to find another Cho'Gath too, but not the upgrade he was looking for. Another Cho'Gath in shop. Just getting rid of these Cho'Gaths completely, really needing to find these upgrades. Still sitting on 3 pairs. Oh my goodness, this is very tilting.
Yeah, no, I'm tilted just watching this. Like, so absolutely close to the Kaisa.
Ooh.
That's going to be an immense amount of power. Vi 3 picked up by Anox. I have to say, I don't really see too many of these Vi carry augments come through. So I'm always excited to see when we get the chance to view it. Hopefully we'll get to see that later. For now, though, Pi-Hat has managed to hit that 4 ace.
Yeah, his hit 4 ace. This Rammus with the ace is so fun. I'm not sure if it's very effective, but it sure is fun. Did switch the items off of this Draven and found another Draven too. Put these items straight onto Samira when he did find a Last Whisper as well, which is absolutely crucial in these comps that just need that shred. This Rammus, though, is really tanky, but just gets executed because of 4 ace.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a hard thing to bounce around from. And honestly, I'll say really quickly, I like the Ace Rammus here. You're going to be doing some AoE damage. That means you're going to be triggering Ace potentially against multiple people every jump. Granted, it's not the highest damage jump, but it's still going to be a fun thing to watch. Moving over to Chandler's perspective, they've dropped the Lulu. They've gone in with the Talia for the 5 Spellslinger board.
5 Spellslinger, people are saying it's really good, but I don't know. I'm just not sold on
You're
it.
not seeing it?
I have not had success playing Spellslinger whatsoever. Then again, I think I've tried to play like 2 Spellslinger, admin, heart kind of thing, rather than just vertical Spellslinger. So maybe it is good. I'll listen to Robin when he says that. I was just reading his handbook earlier today, and he's like, yeah, this is a really good comp. I'm not so sure.
I mean, it's a lot of free AP that's coming through here when you spec into the Star Guardian line, just because you have that natural synergy between the Talia and the Lux. That means you're also going to be casting so much more. There's just a lot of good things going on right now, you know?
Absolutely. Does find an Echo, which is really huge for them as well. Does have that Alistar 2 also that he found this round. So huge spikes coming through. What hasn't spiked is his camera quality.
No. And also the Talia as well. Like I said, only a 1-star Talia at this time. So lots of power that Chandler is waiting on. But with 20 HP, I'm not sure if they can wait, you know?
I don't think they can either. Hoping to one-shot that pizza thrower in the back line, but not quite getting there, especially that BT keeping them alive and well. Will miss on that cast also. So this fight is looking pretty doomed, especially with BT on that set. Really just allowing some tankiness, but it's going to come down to this, and the execute will come through. And so they will be down to 12 HP, Pi-Hat down to 14 as well. This is so close between 4th and 8th is 5 HP.
It's absolutely insane. This is such a close lobby, as you just called out. I feel like at this point, as we saw Chandler do, they have to level up here. They have to look for these big plays. 5 starting in for Spellslinger is probably the start of their strongest board. It's just going to be a matter of how they're going to stand up to folks like Pi-Hat, like Moldiver, that are hitting legendaries, that have been at level 8, I believe, in the case of Moldiver, that little bit longer. And we're going to get to find out right now.
Is this 9 laser core? It is. Oh my goodness. This is not good for Chandler. This could spell the end, be disastrous, as each of these units now have 2 drones onto the back line with this Zed. It is game over for Chandler. This is a huge loss. Look how many drones there are. I freaking love it. It is such a visual masterpiece to see all these things flying around. Pi-Hat also out in 7th place. Oh no.
Yeah. Let's wait to see just how things go. But nope, Pi-Hat I was waiting to see if there's going to be any kind of correction at the end, but no, it is going to be 7 and 8 for Pi-Hat and Chandler. Chandler just immediately threw their head in their hands when they saw the Z positioning, let alone anything that was coming in from the drones, just because it was perfectly on their carries. There was going to be very difficult to come back from that, even if it was still only 6 laser core. If you're KPK, though, you're breathing a sigh of relief at this stage. You were looking like you were going to be in that 8th place position. Now you're playing for top 6. That feels like a much better place to be.
Yeah, Moldiver hitting that 9 laser core is absolutely massive for that board. That board now has a chance to win this game, not just top 4, even possibly take that top 1 spot. Being a sub and just making a statement, I freaking love it. AML invading the ACL is awesome, but this fight is extremely important for both of these players, and it will look like MZ Shady will come out on top with that Z2. KPK will not drop out there in 6th place, but it will be close.
Yeah, they still have a little bit of time, and the lobby is still close, as you were talking about earlier, 5-12, 16-16. So everything at the bottom half can be switched on a dime if KPK just gets a win and Poison Ender takes a particularly bad loss.
And here's the problem. If I'm just going to be fully transparent with everyone watching, we're at the mercy of our streamers, right? We love our streamers. We love every one of them. And we only have 3 POVs this game. We need a spectator mode, Mort Dog. It's probably never coming. It's a lost cause at this point. But currently, our streamers have a chance of going 8-7-6. So.
Yeah, no, the streamer debuff, I think, is unfortunately fairly real coming in for this fight. KPK is able to get that little bit of extra board strength, slamming the Hajj, 2-starring the Ashe. I'm not quite sure if either of those are going to be enough to preserve more than a couple HP.
I'm surprised this board is even going to go 6th. I'm not able to find those upgrades until this point in the game. Really, really hurt this board. So this Leona 2 mech on the other side from Sexy Norris, who's been chilling at level 8, 0 gold for a while now, also has 2 Aphelios on the bench. I can't imagine that this 2-star 3-cost board from KPK does much of anything versus board, as Leona just absolutely melts this front line. This will be the end for KPK going out in 6th place, but Poison Ender also taking a loss and going out. But will this be a worse loss? It will be. So KPK going out in 6th, Poison Ender out in 5th, and we do have our top 4.
Yeah, MC Shady, Moldiver, Norris, and Anox, welcome to the top 4. Norris, like I was talking about before, really needed a turnaround in the second half of the day, and so far, just even securing a top 4 is a very welcome sign from going 8-8 back-to-back. Also, Moldiver continuing here. It's great to see the AML invade, as you were talking about.
Absolutely. It's 2 people at 16 HP. Anox there up at 57. Sexy Norris with that level 8 board that is just so fascinating that he was able to put together with that 2-star Leona mech. And we're now at the mercy of KPK. He is our producer now. Sorry, Honey Bear, you've been fired. It is KPK time.
Pretty much, and it looks like it's going to continue to be laser core time as well. I love seeing the small cloud of drones that just keeps coming as these units are dying. Now only the Zed alive. And this is actually the first time I think I've seen 9 laser core lose in a little while.
I'm pretty sure it won. There was.
Oh wait, excuse me. Sorry, there were just so many drones there.
It's a little bit confusing. There's so many things happening.
The human brain is only equipped to handle perhaps maybe like 8 drones on the screen to then have to deal with a total of 18. Like that's too much for me.
It's a lot. It's a lot happening. And Honey Bear does still have some power to switch producers. We're now on to producer Pi-Hat. He wears a lot of hats. Pi is not one of them, but producer is. So here we are.
And I'm actually excited to see the switch too, because I get to see more about what's up with this Vi. Anox has had it for a while now. It's using the Vi carry augment, which I feel like is just always overshadowed by its support augment brethren, just because the extra 180 HP from boxing lessons is so dang good. But here, though, giving Vi the opportunity to carry, making it so that all that Fronus damage is being augmented by more supportive sort of items, that's all super exciting to see.
This Vi is crazy. I freaking love it. And now getting that 2-star Belveth.
And yeah, I got to talk about this too, because something that I personally loved a lot this set has actually been this dual Belveth Aurelion Soul carry. It's super strong in the mid game just because you're hitting it around when none of the other forecasts are able to really start stacking up. But even in the late game now, especially when you're running a pretty scary front line, as Anox is too, you still get a lot of benefit to the table from things like, say, all the extra AD damage that Belveth is now doing as part of the C patch, or the anti-heal that the meteors from the ASOL are going to provide. Is it going to be enough here against MC Shady? It looks like it won't, but it's going to be a super strong buff.
Yeah, taking a loss. Sexy Norris also taking a loss, so no one dropping out here. Quite surprising to me. MZ Shady, I'm not sure what they're putting together, but it's good. It's winning rounds. So Moldiver Maniac is now level 9 with 9 laser core, able to slot in some more powerful units to continue to ramp up the power. Not even finding any real upgrades, having 4 1-stars on the board, but it doesn't matter because the trait is too strong.
Yeah, and by the way, that's the huge power of that silver laser core augment, by the way. They were able to hit 9 laser core when they were still only level 8. And so as a result, they were able to completely break one of the breakpoints. Now at the level 9, able to get that extra board strength on there with that extra unit, it's going to be a very different story.
And it will be Anox versus Moldiver Maniac. 2 more units on the side of Moldiver Maniac. This Zed, though, has so many drones already. Now onto this Vi, though, who is tanking up so much of this damage. The Sejuani does end up casting. Will do a lot of CC, but will be enough. The Belveth does fall down. It is 1 billion drones versus 1 Aurelion Soul, and it will be enough. MZ Shady, though, does go out in 4th place. So that will be the end of the road for them in this game.
Yeah, but like, oh my, like, dude, this is just so many drones. I don't even know how to properly process and analyze it. It's amazing to see. The Zed items probably aren't exactly what you'd want here. I mean, definitely you have the Edge of Night. That's going to be the thing that you're gunning for at all times. But still, though, this is absolutely insane to watch.
Incredibly visually satisfying. I am a huge fan of this. And Pie Hat watching Moldiver Maniac face the ghost board of Sexy Norris there with 2 Sure Shot, not having the Aphelios 2 either, but this Leona 2 in the front line now with tank items will be doing massive amounts of damage, but will all of these drones be able to get through it with that Dragon Claw? It's looking like it might be, but Zed gets targeted by this Leona, and it's not going to be enough. Look at all of these drones doing so much damage. We'll take a win. Anox now taking a big loss to Sexy Norris, down to 4 HP.
Yeah. Honestly, Aphelios was doing everything he could with the Gravitum, but unfortunately just isn't enough. Still 2-star, and it's going to be very hard to stand up to 9 laser core just generally, especially with the items that we're looking at here. You know what was the level 9 unit that was slotted in? A second Sejuani. That means you're getting more lasers off of each of them. The fact that you're running double Sejuani, which is a ton of stuns, and with the positioning that Moldiver is running right now, it means no corner is safe.
No corner is safe. 2 more drones added onto the field when you slot in another one of those. We're back on board with producer KPK watching Sexy Norris hit a 2-star Aphelios now, which is really big. That's going to do a lot more damage. Is going to be able to spread it out even with that weird itemization.
They are going to be switching guns as well. I don't believe they're on Gravitum anymore. That looks more like Severum to me. So it's going to be curious to see how that is going to switch things up. I've had some conversation with Counterfeit about when you are going to be switching off from Gravitum towards Severum. It's something I feel like we're going to see a lot more conversation about as the balance of those guns are tweaked. Let's see if this one's going to be it.
9 laser core versus this level 9 capped board from Sexy Norris with Leona 2 frontline stands no chance. Sexy Norris taking a huge loss here, will go out. This could be a double kill here. Who will win? Anox versus 9 laser core as well. This Vi is the last unit alive, which will be huge for them as they continue to ramp up. Look at all these drones. Will it do enough damage to this Vi? This Senna will cast not another time. So we'll take a win there versus the ghost board, and we'll steal a 2nd place. Norris FFs.
Yeah, Static Shiv, by the way, great itemization here in order to go to help with these laser core drones. Remember, they all do that bit of magic damage. That's going to help sort of double down on that huge wave that we're seeing approach. And now, again, it's just going to be Moldiver and Anox here in the top 2. It looks absolutely terrifying to me.
Ooh. Able now to find a Fiddlesticks, which is huge as well.
I love it.
Able, I think the difference there was the 3 Aegis that they're able to slot in. But we do have Zoe 2 now for Moldiver. That, I don't think that's a big difference, but it's something. So
I mean, it's going to be some healing coming in from Hacker, though, right? So that's going to be a pretty effective thing to keep the Zed alive that little tiny bit longer.
Yeah, and this fight will decide who wins. Zed's still alive. Onto this Vi earlier now, so we'll take it down. But Belveth and Aurelion Sol still alive, but these drones will do so much damage, and so it will take the round win. Moldiver Maniac, the AML representative, who is subbing for this round, absolutely taking the lobby by storm, getting 9 laser core and absolutely wiping the game.
I mean, I don't know what else to say here from analysis perspectives. Laser Core strong. Like, I don't know what else you kind of want from me or why I'm even on the broadcast right now. We did see some preemptive nerfs at the 3 and 6 levels of the trait, just in anticipation of seeing things like Ace fall off, so just to make sure that Zed wasn't going to be absolutely dominant. But none of that happened towards Laser Core 9, making it continuing this crazy kind of Exodia.
Yeah, just find laser core, play laser core. That was pretty simple there, but just fantastic playing by them. Able to go level 9 and find what they need. And just a great way to cap the board. Fantastic showing by them. Also fantastic showing by Sexy Norris, who made that comeback. Went 8-8 in the first 2 lobbies, or 7-8, I'm sorry. And now able to get a top 3. Huge play by them.
Yeah, and as you talked about before, they were moved towards the bottom 8th of our entire bracket. They needed a 3rd place like this to just stay in contention as, again, playoffs are getting closer and closer and closer. So they're just going to need another big top 4 coming in here. But knowing Norris, they're gunning for a win.
Absolutely, and we will see if Norris can get that win in 5 minutes. After this short break, we will see you guys back here shortly.
Stick around.
Time slows down when it can get no worse. I can feel it running out on me. I don't want these to be my last words. All forgotten, 'cause that's all they'll be. Now there's only one thing I can do. Fight until the end like I promised to. Wishing there was something left to lose. This could be the day I die for you. What do you see before it's over? Blinding flashes getting closer. Wish that I had something left to lose. This could be the day I die for you. This could be the day I die for you. This could be the day I die for you. This could be the day. Everything I know, everything I hold tight. When to let it go, when to make them all fight. When I'm in control, when I'm out of my mind. When I gotta live, when I gotta die, gotta die. Everything I know, everything I hold tight. When to let it go, when to make them all fight. When I'm in control, when I'm out of my mind. When I gotta live, when I gotta die. This could be the day I die for you. Feeling like there's nothing I can do. This could be the end, it's mine to choose. It's taken me my lifetime just to prove. This could be the day I die for you. Don't let it be the day. What do you see before it's over?
Welcome to the second half of Block 2. I'm still ProTrade, that's CLE, and oh boy, we still got TFT to play.
Oh boy, we still do have to. You know, you just rhymed there. This is CLE. We still have some TF. You need a raise.
Let me
That's
tell
what
you,
need.
I know a thing or two about wordplay, and unfortunately, none of it comes to mind when I'm saying it. So I get to seem much cooler than I actually am, unfortunately. But it is going to be very exciting, though. Lots of great stuff was happening in that last lobby. We were able to see Norris finish at a top 3, which is exactly what they needed to do. Beyond that as well, we were also able to see some pretty good top 4s. Moldiver taking that one for the AML, but Anox also doing a great job with that Vi carry.
Yeah, super innovative board from Anox. Really fun to see. I love whenever I see somebody doing that Vi carry succeed. I was sad a little bit with those people choosing the Draven augments that we didn't see that reroll as well. But a lot of flexible play coming in through that. I know it didn't work out well for Pi-Hat, but he played it correctly, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think Pi-Hat definitely had the right idea. There seemed to be a little bit of contention in the early to mid game towards the Draven, so that made sense for the hesitation that we saw on their part. But they were turning that into gold through League of Draven. We already know how strong drip feed gold augments can be just through the last kerfuffle we had with the Dragonlands, I suppose, where everything was coming through with the realm of the, oh my goodness, why am I already, the Dragonlands are so far behind me at this point that I'm already forgetting what Lagoon even is. So I feel like it's a very serene point of mind to sort of be in right now. But again, we're now here in the next set of Monsters Attacks. We got plenty more drip to talk about.
Absolutely. And this set has continued to be one of people's favorites, right? I'm not quite sure we know exactly why yet, besides Dragons Are Gone. But also that it's pretty flexible, right? You're not pigeonholed into different things.
On top of that, too, like we also see some very interesting iterations of some very exciting traits. Admin is basically this set's take on either mutant, and as a result of that, we get to see some pretty interesting combinations that are completely random game after game after game. Fret is a very interesting way to help learn TFT in general, just because remember, even though frets don't give you any kind of innate bonus just from scaling and playing more of them, they are very strong, very splashable units, which honestly is a skill that all TFT players should have. You should be willing, if you're able to pick up a strong early game 4-cost unit, or if you're able to find something else in a utility capacity, to be willing to put that onto your board, to find that little bit of extra board strength, to get yourself to perhaps whatever ideal endgame comp that you have, and maybe, just maybe, if you're able to 2-star that splash, if you're able to find that random next item you need for that splash, you can start playing flexibly, but we'll have to see how flex these players can be as we enter into a more normal carousel.
In a set that encourages flex play, Pi-Hat continues to be one of those players that you never really know where he's going to end up. Continues to play very well and flex throughout it. It's doing pretty well in the overall standings, pretty much right in the middle of where everyone is at. Has some really good weeks. Week 1 especially was a good week for him, but hoping to turn this week around into something memorable.
I think every week is a good week for Pi-Hat, just because, again, they are such a big voice in TFT. They have a lot of amazing insight into this game, and honestly, I just like being able to cast them. So far for us, we are seeing a bit of a repeat. This time for Pi-Hat, I think last time we were watching Chandler's perspective first, of this immediate Gunblade drop being given as an option to them. The other thing I do have to call out is that I believe Chandler picked up that bow that we were talking about earlier, and Pi-Hat is immediately looking at Renegades.
Immediately Renegades, interested to see why he sold there when he had enough units just to buy everything and stay flexible. But just telling everyone early, right? Just telling everyone early that this is what's going to happen.
I mean, I guess in Fury, you don't want the rod to be stuck on the Galio. So I can get that perspective just generally, especially like if you're able to find something, perhaps like a locket that you might want to slam early for that early game shield potential. Even then, could be some other interesting things coming through here. Really hoping that you can find the Camille for that early free Renegade, but not in the cards just yet.
Yeah, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. A lot of times you can get these early upgraded 1-star Renegade units without Renegade in and still do pretty well. So it's not the end of the world whatsoever. It's got a few more shops to see before he has any meaningful fights.
Yeah, now we just gotta see if there's any more pairs that come through from these orbs.
Whoa.
The Zoe coming down could be an interesting point of direction. There is 2 out of 3 gadgeting right now, a trait that we've seen do a lot of amazing power, and this is gonna be another 2-1 hero augment.
Another 2-1 hero augment, the third of the day so far. The least favorite and least popular version of the hero augments being this one. But we'll find an early gadgeting start. Not having to pick up that Annie either is actually huge because they will be able to go Annie 3 easier with that in the orb. We'll just need to make, especially with Reflector Shield, this Annie a super tank.
Yeah, I mean, that is going to be a pretty effective thing as well, because not only is it giving you the gadgeting now, that is going to be a really good overclock Sunfire cape, but on top of that too, Annie is going to be something core that you want to be running eventually in that kind of Renegade Viego. Obviously, you would rather hold on to the Burning Spirit as opposed to the Reflector Shield to make sure Viego's getting a bit more of a benefit. But as you said, this is an amazing amount of tank potential that the Annie is granted by being the carry here. Looking, by the way, across the way over to Chandler's board, they were able to hit what appears to be the Endless Pizza here. This was a super strong augment in 13.1b. However, it has been nerfed that very slightly bit by the virtue of, not having as many sets and the big health sponges in the meta.
Yeah, the percent HP heal plus the cleansing of all negative effects was absolutely massive for these mechs that just had infinite amounts of HP, it seemed, as these Sivers in the backline would just heal up the entire team. So glad that's gone.
I was going to say, don't get me wrong, though. I still think Endless Pizza is incredibly strong. Like, it still has a 4.4 or something like that average placement. So as a result of that, it is going to be very meaningful. And Chandler is now going to be our new perspective to take a look at here.
Is his camera a little bit more focused?
It's a little like, they're figuring it out.
Maybe, maybe not. But we do have some early mech units with this Endless Pizza as well. So maybe just still going for that upgraded mech frontline and possibly going for 4 sure shots as well.
I mean, let me tell you, I wouldn't mind seeing something wacky too, like trying to make sure that you're able to mech your Wukong at the stage, just because we saw some very light Wukong buffs earlier on in the 13.1 patch. So it could be meaningful to see. That said, though, you've already started going for the Zed. I don't think you want to grief the items that you've been slamming on him at this stage.
Is this the third person with Endless Pizza, being MZ Shady, or the second?
I think this is only the second, but like I talked about, it is still a very strong augment. Like, granted, it doesn't fit in the meta as well, and also I believe it went from every 7 seconds proccing to every 8 seconds proccing. It does hurt a lot of its viability. But that being said, it's free heals, free cleanses of dots. Like, it's really hard to just find reasons to say no to that, especially when you're looking for something super flexible at 2-1.
And we'll check the admin here. When a unit kills, they will gain 25 AP. So fairly strong. Not choosing to put it in, we'll end up selling up to 10 gold. Maybe we'll sell this Vi to pre-level to level 5, which would allow for some of these Jaxes to possibly come in at a higher rate. But Poison Ender on the other side, with this really strong board being level 5 already here at 2-3. Curious if he was there at 2-2.
I mean, hey, I love these aggressive early level 5s. These are how you catch people off guard. Yes, your economy is going to hurt a little bit in the short run, and especially if you lose. But as they're putting on a show for us right now, as long as Poison Ender doesn't lose, there really isn't anything to worry about. They're able to have a very strong streak that's going to take them into the Krugs and should offset any kind of losses that they are facing right now. Having the 2 stars don't hurt either.
Absolutely not. As we head into this first carousel, our players are looking to complete another item, possibly their first item, to give them some kind of direction in this game, to give them some kind of early game power or not, in order to ramp up their econ and get them into a spot that they feel comfortable leveling up and getting to those spots in the game where you can get those high capped boards.
By the way, that little scout from Chandler does confirm it's 2 players running the Endless Pizza, so nothing to be too scared of just yet. They have at this point picked up a second belt that could be a Warmogs to prolong some of these fights, and also, again, really buff up the power of the Endless Pizza just because it's HP based. So all in all, that could be a very interesting slam to see. Otherwise, though, I'm not really sure if they have any other good units they want to put in here other than the Alistar. So it might just be preferred to just slot it in for now.
Yeah, it does end up selling some of these units. Will slot in just a random Blitzcrank instead. After taking that loss, maybe not looking towards a win streak, Anox playing a Raider spoils board with an Ezreal 2 already is pretty strong with the static Shiv, but has 0 frontline.
Yeah, and there have been some very strong emotions, I have to say, with Raider spoilers. We've seen it in the player base. We've seen it also just generally on our rank climb when that random Blitzcrank hook comes through. It can be a very swingy augment. It also, as you can kind of see from the shadow of the C patch that's come through, the fact that it doesn't grant you gold anymore, that little reminder that at one point did, and it's still as strong as it is, it's a crazy augment to play around, especially at this level.
Yeah, KPK checking admin as well, deciding once again not to go with it, but does have this strong board. This is the Vi support augment, so everyone getting some extra HP. I believe it just got nerfed, so I'm not sure.
It's
how much
180 now, I think.
180, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a huge nerf to the Jax comp because this was so good, especially with the percent HP buff that comes with Brawler. And so nerfing that also nerfed that Jax Brawler's build.
Yeah, and for the record, though, for anyone who's counting right now, I think it's gone from 250 to maybe 220 to 200 to now to the 180. So having bonus health is just a really strong stat spread across absolutely everyone. This is, if people aren't remembering, around what the Brawler trait used to do just generally before it was moved to this more percentage and very greedy version of it. And ooh, that's a close win coming in for KPK.
Yeah, and Moldiver, I believe, lost the last 2 rounds after winning the first 3, so not the worst case scenario for them either, it's just chilling at 92 HP, but KPK now has the opportunity to possibly streak through early stage 3 with this board, but it's a little confusing, but all of these Vi augments tend to be good, just because Vi's traits are so flexible, being Aegis, being Brawler, being Underground, which just helps scale a board infinitely if you're willing to go that route and risk it all.
Vi, I will say, does fall off a little bit in the mid game, but the fact that we saw Aegis buffs within 13.1c will cause players to consider her that little bit more as they're starting to think about their late game boards. One thing I do have to call out, though, is that you said that she is a good way of activating Underground. That's correct. KPK has been sitting on the Underground potential for a little while now, has had the oath. They're not sure if they're excited about that Sona or if they're spiting the Sona because they wanted it a little bit earlier, but that should be helping their win streak either which way. Back to the point, though, they haven't exactly been able to run that Underground, so they're not going to be getting any of that bonus economy for that early cash out that a lot of players have been favoring so far.
Yeah, decided to go with early health instead, but Sexy Norris on the bottom right, you see him at Talon 3, 68 HP, which is not ideal, but Talon 3 coming through is huge.
If I had to guess, I believe they probably went for an all-in roll down after Krugs and getting as much economy as they could. This is one of those big statements that Norris likes to make, just in terms of how they play these games. I'm really curious to see exactly what the itemization of that Talon is, because usually it's used as a bit of a pseudo holder for that, for the Viego that you're going to be running, just because you're able to usually pick up an extra Talon here or there somewhere to still be able to run more Renegade or Oxforce later on. But running him as his own carry can be very strong, is further augmented if you have the carry augment. But let's see what this next round is going to bring with gold.
It will bring a gold augment choice. KPK quickly going for the component grab bag, able to grab some more items, a lot of tank items. So will have a lot of power for those tanks to stall, especially if he's planning on running Heart. Frontline is absolutely crucial in making these boards scale into the late game. We do now have 2 win streakers, being KPK and Pie Hat, as we're now on board with our Endless Pizza player who found a Samira.
I mean, hey, that's going to be a pretty big bonus to them at this stage. Samira with the 5% odds at level 6 is a very huge pickup, and already building the Gunblade and half of the Last Whisper, that's going to be a pretty beneficial thing. You were talking a little bit earlier about how Sure Shot has been nerfed at 2, and it has. It's gone from 10 to 8. But at this level here, I feel like it should still be enough for the Samira to do some #just Samira things.
Yeah, and especially with endless pizza, it's worth putting in, right? Two sure shot is better than no sure shot. And so being able to get the percentage HP heals and the cleanses with endless pizza and then just to Samir to ramp up through the fights with the pretty good frontline he has, it will be pretty good. And I expect it to streak him through much of this stage. Pretty close fight with Moldira Maniac, but his board is pretty strong.
Yeah, I will say I feel like they might need a few more 2 stars, at least for, say, for example, the extra little bit of power that they're going to be getting from the health, getting more benefits from the endless pizza, but only sitting on right now the, oh my goodness, why am I forgetting Rammus? Only sitting on a Rammus 1 with Warmogs granted, but still a 1-star. On top of that, also sitting on the 1-star Rel. This isn't exactly the front line you want to be having right now.
Yeah, the front line is not good. And especially with two sure shot and sure shot in general, you need to ramp up into that late game. So that's really what he's looking to solidify here in this mid game is can he get a front line? Can he get direction for a late game front line at the very least, whether that's the Aegis Brawler front line or a mech front line? Warmog's not being one of the better items for mech whatsoever. So he's probably pretty flex with that.
I mean, hey, it's still great for endless pizza, though. So it means that every other front line that you have is still going to be able to continuously stall, which is, as you said, the core of any kind of sure shot composition. So I feel like you can still feel like you're in a pretty good position. I also feel like I need to call out the Vel'Koz here as well, just because, yes, it's not a frontliner, but its ability to stun those single target high damage units means that it's going to be able to get a lot of good stall in to get those sure shot stacks.
Yeah, we see this Sona 2 still carrying KPK through this mid game, still streaking there at 92 HP. Chandler at 83 HP, and no one really far below. MZ Shady is at 55, but no one below 50 HP here is pretty good for the health of the lobby.
Yeah, I have to say, this isn't like we were seeing towards the later half of the last lobby where everyone was in like 5 HP of each other and everyone was clawing together. This is still going to be a pretty distinct difference between, you're still going to have that similarity, I guess, between the bottom half of the lobby, but between the top and the bottom, there's not going to be that drastic of a difference.
Yeah, Last Whisper coming in too for Chandler. Absolutely massive. Hoping to find this mech here soon, it looks like. But threat frontline for these sure shots is also a good option. As we slide over to our third place player, Pie Hat, with pretty good Renegade start, but also has this Annie. So maybe we'll go flex Renegade here, or maybe we'll just go with that classic Annie Spellslinger board.
I mean, hey, I like the Annie here. It's going to be incredibly tanky just because of the hero augment, just because of that phenomenal itemization that we have at this stage. I also want to call out the fact that we haven't exactly seen the Zoe being abandoned right just yet. They have good itemization on the Zoe that can eventually move over to the Viego. However, Prankster does a good job of stalling. It also is going to be fairly effective as a unit as well for Zoe. And I like the hesitation that Pie Hat is showing to not just say, ooh, I hit my carry. Let's just get rid of the item holder.
I think that's often a mistake that No Flame, a lot of lower level players make, is they say, ooh, my carry, let me sell this thing that's holding my items. And I get it, right? It makes sense to put your items on the carry, but oftentimes it might not be correct. And I think Pie Hat's deciding whether or not he's going to go the Renegade route or he's going to try to flex around this. I think the items really do say that he's going to go this Renegade route, so we'll end up selling and putting in some of these stronger units as well as 3 Renegade now that he's found it.
This really is the time to as well, right? Like, you need to make sure that the board that you have going into the final augment choice is going to be roughly what you want to be ending out the game with, because there are going to be all of those little optimizations that you can make, so that way the augment system is going to give you roughly what you want it to. By the way, NZ Shady getting an early Aphelios, it's only going to be 1 star. It's all ever fully itemized to be going for, I believe, Severum. That's going to be a lot of power, not usually what we see for Aphelios 1. Usually it's been Gravitum, but these buffs just might have got Severum to edge things out.
Yeah, and MC Shady, who's having an okay day in the ACL, is now looking super good, able to find 4 sure shot really early because of finding that Aphelios, and also already having a Samira as well with Endless Pizza. So big chillin' over there for MZ Shady. KPK still streaking through stage 3, so winning those rounds at the end of stage 2, now all the way into the end of stage 3. So they're looking pretty good on the health bar and in the wallet.
Hat though took 2 losses there, and all of a sudden isn't looking as good anymore, right? Like, by the way, I think that was a gold orb that was just a bunch of gold, but that's how it goes. Pi Hat has gone from being that number 3 player to now the number 7 player. They really are going to need a big swing coming in from the augment, or just some very nice pickups of units to try to turn things around.
Yeah, we'll do a little bit of a roll down here to try and find that Viego 2 has not found any copies. So not looking too good right now. We'll find a few more Oxforce units, so we'll be able to get 4 Oxforce in, but not really finding exactly what he's looking for.
Yeah, is able to slot in the admin as well. I believe we were talking about how for Pi Hat, I think this was the AP on kill one, or was this the one that was max HP?
I am not sure. I can't remember.
Well, here, we're going to double check things really quickly as we're going to be watching the effects trigger potentially. At least that's what I'd say if that was going to be hitting a non-Oxforce unit, because Oxforce still does the things that Oxforce do. But yeah, no, it's going to be a lot of extra power here and going to be a good amount of scaling.
Absolutely. Great scaling. This Annie is doing a ton of tanking in the front line. Moldiver, who's running this comp that we've not seen do too well, having a lot of those recons and those threats in the front line, down to 24 HP. KPK taking a big loss, down to 78 HP as well.
And I'm not sure if I expected Recon to sort of ship the way it has. It wasn't exactly hit with too many nerfs, so I was thinking it was going to be okay. That Oxforce crest is a big pickup.
Yeah, especially where he is right now. He can currently slot in 6 Oxforce with that Fiora on bench. Able to find another Annie as well. We'll slot that in. 6 Oxforce is a huge buff for attack speed and also just survivability of all your units.
Yeah, I think that survivability is going to be the name of the game here, especially just because, Viego doesn't exactly look for attack speed. He looks for reset potential. So it is going to be nice to, of course, keep himself alive that little bit longer, but really he wants to make sure they can keep slamming down the sword.
Well, he's chilling pretty well now. As we head over to KPK's board, he'll probably end up going level 8 to roll for more of that Viego. KPK sticking with this Sona carry, now has a heart spat that he's put on a Zoe with an empty tier on the bench as well. So looking to go blue buff Zoe with heart. This is a comp that has a very high ceiling.
Yeah, it is a little bit late, however, to start really stretching into it. Yes, they're 78 HP. Yes, they're number 1 in the lobby. But with only a Zoe 1 to their name and no other Zoes on bench, this is probably just going to be an AP battery for something like your Sona that won't be the real carry.
Yeah, may not have all of these units right now, but is at 50 gold, looking to go level 8 and roll it down for some of these units he's looking for. Possibly switching over to a Sona carry as well, I would imagine, which is, or I'm sorry, a Soraka carry, which is probably a little bit better. Will not level this round, but probably will do a 4-5 roll down.
Yeah, I can't stress it enough. The potential is definitely there, but just like how I was talking about last game with the Urgot, right? You have a lot of future potential coming in. We're just not seeing it right now. And for KPK, with their HP total, they might actually be just fine. But with Sexy Norse and MZ Shady both win streaking right behind them, it's going to have a closing window of opportunity attached.
Yeah, KPK looking to really cap this board, right? Oh my goodness, that is a Set 2 and a Samir 2 on the other side. I'm not sure exactly who that is, but they also have Ace Crest on bench.
That's going to be Chandler.
That is Chandler. Okay, looking to go that 4 Ace version of this Samira with 2 Sure Shot and this mech frontline. So that is going to be a super high capped board if you're able to hit those 4 Aces as well. So, man, this is scary.
You pay a crazy tax when you pick up that Ace emblem, right? Because that's going to be a gold augment that you can't play immediately in most of the circumstances that you get it. Because of that all or nothing nature of the trait, you need to make sure that you're able to run those 4 Ace. So as a result, you're just saying, I'm playing a gold augment, it's not going to be doing anything, but just you wait until I find these other units. It's going to be absolutely insane. They still are running a strong enough board off of those early 2-star 4 costs that they're just going to be fine. So that's going to be an amazing position to be playing from. But Moldiver actually dives to 8th place at a -1.
Yeah, our first place winner from last game goes 8th place in this game. So all is right in the world. All just equals out. Moldiver, fantastic day by you. I'm thankful that you're able to cover and represent the AML very well in these games.
Yeah, ooh, really quick level coming in here for KPK. That's going to be...
And he's...
No, I want to hear what you're saying.
Yeah, he picked up the Syndra on Carousel that gives this 4 heart and also can make a Spear of Sojin, which is the best item on this Syndra. So I'm curious to see if he's going to slot that in, if he's going to be able to slot in this Janna as well, which he did roll past a second copy of that will make that Spear of Sojin. So we'll be able to toss in more and more units and finds Fiddlesticks, which is the best unit to toss in.
The one thing that I'm trying to look out for, though, is how you're able to fit in Star Guardian at this point. Because every little bit that's going to be giving the Syndra more mana is going to be absolutely huge. Granted, she's able to throw in the Fiddle. That's going to be an amazing one, as you called out. But there could be that little bit of extra strength that KPK is looking for.
And MZ Shady, who has this early 4 sure shot board, is really just rolling through this board that really, it has 3 Aegis, right? It's not synergy that you need to beat this high AD board.
Yeah, you're going to need some defenders in here, but that's just not going to be what KPK is suited for with the general path that Hart is going to be setting them down.
Curious to see if they're going to continue to lose streak here. I bet they would like to for their econ's sake, but they're rolling down for whatever they can find. Is holding this Talia has another one in shop as well, so maybe pivoting out of this Sona is possible, but on board with the lowest HP alive in our lobby, Pie Hat, who has not found Viego 2.
Yeah, that's going to be rough. They have found the Aurelian Soul 2, which at stage 4 can still be strong, but now that we're in the dog years of 4-6, that means that it's going to start falling off quicker than you'd like.
Ooh, this Belveth on the other side is really, really good. Has pretty good items. Hand of Justice not being the best healing item on there, but does provide a lot of extra damage. A Mech Jax on the other side is this PvE, but is absolutely wiping this board from Pie Hat. This could be the end here. Did find an Aphelios to slot in over a Fiora, but it is not going to be enough. The Jax now on to the Aphelios in the backline. This will be a big amount of damage. Will not quite take him out down to 3 HP.
Yeah, Pie Hat is going to be in a bit of a risky situation. I feel like the Aphelios being found is going to be that saving grace. That stun is going to be enormous just to make sure that there's a little bit more time for the Viego to get those high impact ults. Unfortunately, though, it's going to be difficult. And at 59 gold, Pie Hat is really walking a tightrope and playing with fire.
Really needs to hit that Viego 2 on this roll down. 3 HP and Dream will not be going 8th, but can go 7th here. Will level to 8 here. I imagine next round he kind of has to, right? This is his last chance to hit what he needs to absolutely cap this board at the highest it can be.
Yeah, and if I had to just guess what's coming next, it's going to be a quick level to 8 as well, immediately followed by a heavy roll down just to find that Viego 2. You really need that carry at this stage. These items would be a nice little thing too. Is able to find the needlessly large rod for the Jewel Gauntlet. Now I think it's time for a bit of a roll.
Oh no, he's rolling on 7, so he's not going to be able to find these units at the best odds. Will find another Viego as well as 2 more copies of this Aurelian Soul. Is Aurelian Soul 3 in the cards? I don't think so. And neither is Viego 2. It looks like another Aurelian Soul coming in, but no Viego 2. Able to find 4 more copies of Aurelian Soul, but 0 more or 1 more copy of Viego. So it is not going to be enough. This board is looking doomed.
That absolutely hurts if you're Pie Hat. Like, you were investing so much gold into this final roll down. You want to try to make sure you're able to increase your odds. Yes, you are able to get the higher odds at level 8 for those forecasts, but you have so much gold. You look at the calculation. Surely upon surely, you must be able to hit 1 more Viego. Just wasn't going to be able to. Pie Hat's going to be going down.
Yeah, gonna be going down there in 7th place after taking a 7th place in that first game as well. So double 7ths here in block 2 for him is not good. But you know what is good? Chandler hitting 4 ace.
Yeah, that's going to be that huge spike they were talking about. They finally have a gold augment. That's amazing. And from there, too, it's going to be properly segmented as well. They've thrown it onto the Belveth. On top of that, too, they have the Draven that's going to be just buffing up their mech that little bit more. Exactly what you want to see it be doing in the late stage of this kind of board. I think this is looking like a really scary thing for any player to go up against at this stage. But I also see a lot of other scary boards.
Man, this lobby's tempo is so much higher than some of the other ones we've seen today. Everyone rolling on 7, and Chandler just happened to hit all of these really important 2-star upgrades on level 7 here. But this is going to be a mech v mech fight, but the Leona coming in, but will die to these aces. So will this Samir be able to get through this Jax, though, who's incredibly tanky? Belveth doing so much work, now having a QSS as well. But this Misfortune may get one more cast off, but Belveth may be able to kill before them, but misses because Belveth's jukes are too good.
Yeah, Belveth's just a little bit too slippery, I think, for the Misfortune. I was even thinking post-nerfs as well. It might be a little bit tricky to get those alties. Look at that go, by the way, with the Talon. We haven't gotten the chance to see that sexy Norse Talon in action so far this game, but that was absolutely insane to be able to watch right there. Talon is such a strong unit if you're able to freestar. Unfortunately, though, 5-3 is when you see that begin to fall off.
Yeah, and KPK now getting some of those important upgrades that are needed, now has that Star Guardian in. Down to 3 Spellslinger, though, is not ideal for this board. But will be able to find that 2-star Zoe, having a lot of copies of important units on the bench, a lot of pairs that they really need. Will dodge much of the Shroud, which is really good for this board. But this could be a very important fight for both of these people. Will put either of them at 1 life, most likely. Hoping to ramp up and stall throughout this fight is KPK, but Aenox is really looking to shred through this front line with this perfect item, Kaisa nearly, but this Syndra will toss in this Fiddlesticks onto the back line, will not quite kill any of these units, but will take them all really low as Zoe continues to do the work in the back line. The Sona barely staying alive, and this will be a win for KPK.
I think KPK made the right deduction here. They're looking at everything coming through. They see that the best way forward is to stall, to be able to throw in as much as possible with their Syndra and just generally lock in the Star Guardian here. Yes, losing the Spellslinger is going to hurt, and it definitely hurt a little bit in the AP department, but because you're also running Heart, that's pretty easy to gain back. So I don't really think they feel too bad about losing that directly here.
Oh, will they go for the Syndra too? They elect not to. I'm not sure it's a big difference, especially because all you really want to do is get more mana so it can toss in more units, not really upgrading it for any AP or anything like that. So we'll now roll down to see if he can find any of these upgrades. Really looking for Echo 2 is huge, but we'll find Talia 2 and we'll switch these items over onto there, which will be very strong.
I like this a lot. Another thing, by the way, that goes into wanting to make sure that Talia stays, excuse me, not the Talia, the Syndra stays a 1-star is just because you could potentially get some chains coming in where she throws in the other Syndra on the bench who is then able to throw in another unit. So that can always be pretty crazy to keep that tempo moving forward. Again, though, just because the 2-star is only giving you that additional AP, it's still going to be very effective because it also gives more survivability. That's also going to ensure that you're going to get more call-ins in the future.
Yeah, but this board on the other side from our other POV in the lobby is Chandler with this 4-ace board. Will it be able to get through this front line? This Vi is standing strong versus this mech, but the building will come down and take it out. The mech is alive, but the Samira is not. So this could spell disaster. Talia very close to going down with this last cast will go down, but as Heart continues to ramp up, will it be enough AP to take down this mech? It will. Chandler will go out there.
Yeah, -1. That's incredibly close for Chandler right there. And I have to say, if you were already skeptical, like say, for example, CLE sitting right next to me, metaphorically, of what the AP tree can do, may this be a lesson for you, because KPK is going absolutely wild with it.
Yeah, that Talia absolutely deleted the backline and absolutely stomped the fight.
I will say a lot of what's happening here is going to be off the back of the double heart emblem that's in. It really does mean you're able to get a bunch of free AP. Also using Yodon units that are very keen to get that bonus ability power, particularly that Zoe. So all in all, those things work together to a lot of benefit. Let's see how it's going to do against one of the strongest boards in the lobby right now, though. Already sporting a 2-star Urgot and a fairly scary Aphelios.
Yeah, they did pivot out of 4 sure shot. It did look like, and they pivoted into this board with some high-powered units, and it will absolutely wipe KPK's board. This is going to be a huge loss, but the Fiddlesticks may redeem some of that and take out a few more units, but not enough. He will go out there. It will be a 4th place for KPK. Aenox going out in 5th.
I will say, I think if that Alistar went down to the Fiddlesticks ulti, which it just didn't, I think we'd be talking about KPK living into the top 4. However, again, all the units that you see the Syndra frozen, that keeps your board alive, that stalls that little bit longer, it helps you find those extra units, and it's why KPK is in the top 4 and Anox is in the bottom 4.
Absolutely. This is coming down to the wire. Sexy Norris pulling off another top 3. Fantastic to see them make the big comeback. Poison Ender being a sub for one of our top players in the ACL, that being Clave or Banana in Pajamas, and MZ Shady coming back with a huge performance. We'll get another top 4 in the second block.
Yeah, I have to say, it's going to be a very dominant performance indeed, just going through.
Ooh.
And,
Level 9 now for MZ Shady, so we'll get a lot of those high-value units now in these shops. Has 20 gold to roll, so we'll try to see if they can 2-star any of these units on their board.
yeah, they are so close to that Aphelios. They have the second one just hanging out on their bench. They are going to be finding, the Boar Rider herself, Sejuani, just to get that little bit of extra stall. But they really do want to have that 2-star Aphelios. There's so much power baked into it just because of the itemization.
This fight will decide a lot. Poison Ender, though, curious to see if they're fighting Sexy Norris and how that is going, because he's the only one in danger of dropping out. But this Urgot is now on to this mech, and it will be Poison Ender dropping out. Pretty decisive win, it looks like, from Sexy Norris, who's now on a win streak. So this will be a battle for first place. Will it be Sexy Norris or MZ Shady? It does look like MZ Shady pretty convincingly taking that win there.
Yeah, MC Shady has a very scary late game board, lots of high value targets. However, Norris has been able to be sitting on a very scary version of this Talon reroll. On top of that, too, they've been slowly hitting more and more of these late game units, too. It's very rare that you see someone with a 3-star 1 cost also be able to hit level 9, but Sexy Norris is just built different, I guess, in that way.
Yeah, able to find 6 Renegade, though, is so much damage for this board. Now able to find that Leona that's just going to absolutely shred through these frontline tanks for MZ Shady. But I'm curious to see if this Talon will jump to which side here. It will jump to the non-priority unit, not towards that Aphelios, but towards the Sivir in the back line, but this Urgot will continue to fire at the front line. So this level 9 board from MZ Shady is clearly dominating this board from Sexy Norris. I'm curious to see if there's anything they can do to make it possible to beat this board.
I mean, the Urgot 2 is a pretty good start, right? Like, you aren't going to have that double Urgot that we were kind of seeing before, and it's just been generally, even after the bug fix, still a pretty good way to get CC and lots of extra chests coming through. However, Urgot 2, an amazing amount of extra power that's going to be very helpful for Norris. They just, I think, need to see if they're able to get the talent influence, perhaps, to go towards jumping on the opposing Aphelios. It's going to be a tricky thing to do, though, because it's still just going to be the furthest from the center, and there's 2 potential targets there.
Yeah, and now he does have a better lineup for that. This Talon will jump to the furthest enemy, wondering if this will make the big difference in this fight, but it doesn't jump to that side at all. I guess it was too far away. Maybe I don't know how this game works. But the building will come down and do a lot of damage as Talon does now jump onto that backline. Leona is doing tons of work in this front line, but the 2-star Urgot still alive and will take this round win. So MZ Shady taking the lobby win. Oh, I'm
speaking a little bit too fast, I have to say. Norris still has a bit of gas left in the tank. 3 HP, nothing to sneeze at. There was also a potential for a turnaround just because of all the extra bonus stats that are coming in with the Renegade emblem on that last alive Aphelios. Granted, we still need to see some kind of big shift here for Norris very, very soon. And we even see Aphelios holds on both sides, and MZ Shady is looking for it as well. But I think with the Fiddle 2, it's getting harder and harder, further and further away for Norris to call this anything but a second place. That said, though, looking at where they were in block 1, 8-8, moving into a 3-2 potentially, maybe even a 1 if they can play their cards right, I think this is a very good day for Norris.
I believe he just sold an Urgot 2, now rolled for Mordekaiser 2 that he's going to put a Renegade Spat on. So he is going for the one shot here. So Renegade Spat now onto that Mordekaiser who is stuck. He's stuck behind his front line. Now that something jumps into the back line, the Echo is now able to help give that mana for this Mordekaiser, but the Fiddlesticks is doing incredible amounts of damage. The house comes down, but it doesn't kill everything. Urgot 2 still alive. The Aphelios barely surviving in the back line. Leona did get onto that Urgot, but it wasn't enough. It will be the Aphelios versus the Aphelios, and it will, this time, MZ Shady taking the lobby win. Fantastic showing there.
And that was exactly what Norris needed to do in that situation. They needed to move in, make a big play. They were contested on the Aphelios. It was going to be difficult, so they made the hard decision of switching things out, using the other Aphelios they had to try to find an effective 2-star to move the Renegade on. And I think that, given the circumstances, Mordekaiser was the best option that they had. Unfortunately, though, got a little bit stuck early, wasn't quite able to get the mana generation that really needed to get going, get that early sunder and shred that it really is known for in some of these late game fights for Splash, and unfortunately just wasn't quite able to win it out. Still, though, absolutely impressive boards that are being built on both sides. This was an amazing game of TFT.
Amazing game of TFT. I love seeing these high-capped boards. The high-cap plays that they use to try to switch these items around and make these units as powerful as possible. That fight was a lot closer, right? He almost won that fight. So
Norse almost won, I think, a few of those fights back to back to back to back. And I think we still have MC Shady still managing to keep pace, right? They were getting the extra win streak goals. So they were able to roll down a little bit more. They were able to find the Fiddlesticks too. They were able to look for these advantages and capitalize them just better because of the economy that they had. And even if Norris was able to sneak out a win somewhere, they were still going to be sitting on 3 HP versus the 43 HP that we see MC Shady running. And as a result, there's just more room to mess up if you're in that position. So, heck, Shady was in just a great position.
Yeah, fantastic showing by MZ Shady, able to cap out this lobby and cap out our day of TFT here at the ACL. But don't go too far because we will be having a podcast after. But we want to talk finally about the final standings this week and then look at our predictions here shortly. Once we get confirmation that these standings are final, we will let you know who we're going to be saying bye to.
Yeah, I have to say, this has been a pretty impressive week of TFT. We saw some players really trying to make those last-minute jumps, right? Like, say, for example, I'm talking a lot about Norris. Norris has been a lot of these tournaments just overall. They know what they need to do to win. They were able to try to bring things through in this stage. It's now just going to be figuring out if that was enough to get them out of that danger zone.
Yeah, I believe it will be. They had the 2 top 4s, 2 top 3s. So that is a lot of points coming through for Norris. I believe that should be enough to get him out of there pretty comfortably, it looks like. But I think one of our players could be in trouble. I'm just waiting on confirmation. Yes, okay, these are the final ones. One of our streamers in this last lobby, Chandler, just making the cutoff into the bottom 8.
Yeah, just a few points behind. I have to say, I've enjoyed watching Chandler this entire set so far. It's been exciting to watch them play. It's been fun. They've made a lot of really interesting decisions. Just unfortunately today, they just weren't able to get things together. Mortog wasn't quite smiling them as much as they needed to.
Yeah, and then also some of these other players that are going out. Mad Kings Esports Revenge also going out. I don't know how to say this. Q1GA Morty MTW also going out. And Team Ambition's Tri-Fury B, one of my favorite players, also going out there in the bot 8.
Lastnavac too, who is a big favorite of mine as well.
Mm-hmm. Sia Nerds, who's in our first block as well. Yota also going out, and Seth Kaiba going out as well. So those are the 8 people we are saying bye to here in the ACL. And next week will be very high stakes, seeing who will go top 8. Top 8 getting that first round bye in the playoffs, which is absolutely crucial for your placement in this tournament, in this league.
Yeah, absolutely crazy to see. We are just currently waiting on our predictions right now, just so that way we could talk about where things ended up. I know Lawrence has been getting a pretty big head just generally because they've been like, oh, my predictions have been righter and righter as the days are going on. I think they said that week 1 was just generally a bad choice for them, but they were still able to get things back. And certainly in block 1, they had casters and the community running for the hills. They had such a good job done.
Absolutely. And a big comeback by them. I believe production is still sorting out those standings. And it's going to be fun to see how we're doing, see if Lawrence is really pulling off that comeback. I mean, he had a great first block as well. So I want to take a look real quick at the top of our standings, and we see someone who's a little bit, I believe he's newer to the leagues, the last Cardax, chilling at the top there pretty handily, having a 4-point lead over the next person in the first spot.
Yeah, Cardex has been amazing to watch so far this series. They're certainly one of the players that I've been watching a little bit more. They're very entertaining to watch on their own stream. We get a little preview of that whenever they're on our stream as one of our perspectives too, because they're very emotive and animated. If something goes right or something goes wrong for them, you're going to know nigh immediately that that is the case. So just generally, they're very skilled at this game. It's very exciting to watch them play, and I want to see them go way further than week 4.
Yeah, they have had no weeks under 26 points. And I don't believe many people have had weeks at 26 points at all. So fantastic, consistent showing by them, consistently placing in those top 4s in the ACL.
Yeah, like I said, I don't really know what else there is to say really about them. Just generally has been such a high performer. Knickknack, by the way, as well, has also been doing a fairly good job just all through the day. We were able to watch them, I believe, a little bit earlier in Lobby 1. It's been incredible to see how they've been able to adapt to some of these very high-performing lobbies. And they also finished today very high up there with, I believe their final score today was 23 points. Very good.
Yeah, very good showing by them. And we will be looking now at our predictions for the second block of the ACL. Lawrence, once again, doing a really good job, as well as the community.
Well, I mean, hey, look at that. Everyone got at least 2 members of the top 4 correct. That deserves a pat on the back for everyone. I think if I had to guess, Lawrence has to be feeling the best just because they're able to get the top 2. But that said, though, the community, the all-seeing eye of Aegis has smiled upon them directly. They're able to be leading right now with 32 points.
Yeah, fantastic showing again by a lot of these predictions. It's really close now. Really, really close. All within 4 points of one another. Staff being a little bit behind. Looking forward to seeing how this is going to continue to develop through our last week and then into playoffs.
Yeah, and there's still going to be, again, that little bit more TFT to play. Remember, next week is going to be the last week for playoffs, as CLE had just mentioned. Then we're going to start seeing some real cutoffs before we start figuring out who's going to be trying to go for the finals. But I think with that, though, there isn't really too much to say. Remember to tune in 13 minutes for the podcast. But until Lawrence and Honeybear take everything away from us, CLE, where can people find you on the social medias?
Twitter's my main source of communication with those in the community, besides Discord. Obviously, we all use Discord. So you can find me at CLE_TFT over there on Twitter. You can find me on Twitch at CLE TFT on Twitch as well. So where can we find you, Protroid?
Protroid's the name on both Twitter and Twitch. On top of that, too, always feel free to drop me a line on Discord, because if you're in the server, you can do that. It's just generally a nice thing to do. I always like talking with players about new TFT strategies and just generally what can be done to make commentary better. But I think with that, there is not too much for us to say at this juncture. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to be talking to the Laurel Down podcast. And with that, see you around.
See you soon.